The children are the future. Through them, limitless possibilities unfold. Aloha, shifters, dreamers, light guardians of this beautiful holographic matrix. Thank you for joining us once again for another paradigm shifting, consciousness expanding, heart opening team podcast that we do here on a weekly basis as part of Paradigm Shift Central, a global team of shifters, people actively helping assist with the shift in consciousness. And this week's episode is a very special episode. This is about the spiritual wisdom of raising children. And for this week, we are joined by our junior shifters who are on air with us here, and we're going to give a nice proper introduction to everybody in the next moment. But for now, for everybody here, let's just gently unmute our microphones and we'll bring everybody up on camera, and let's make some noise and send some love to all the amazing people who are tuned in. So say hello, everyone. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Love you.
Hi, everyone.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you again, everyone, as always, for joining in, for being a part of the team, for being a part of this experience, of this opportunity. My name is Brendon, aka Mystic Spider-Man, Skull Babylon, Wolf Shield, and we'll just give a quick little introduction and we'll just tell you how to get connected with the community, and then we'll get right into a very micro meditation, and then we'll get right into today's discussion and honor the fact that some of these rugrats have to go to bed soon, so we don't want to keep them up too late since we're broadcasting this late in the evening. So we're just going to go across the top and just introduce everyone real quick along with their juniors who they may have in. And yeah, with that said, my name is Brendon, Mystic Spider-Man. I already introduced myself, and joining us from my top of my screen, from my left to my right, is Rebecca. So Rebecca, you can just wave to the camera there. So let's give a nice warm welcome to Rebecca. Thank you, Rebecca, for joining. And we've also got Jennifer back again. Thank you, Jennifer, for being here. Great to see you as well. And we've got Kristen with baby Yoda. There's multiple baby Yodas as always in this podcast, so I'm sure baby Yoda will be chiming in with some thoughts this episode. And we've got Carley joining in with their special little nugget. Thank you, Carley, for joining in. And we've got Curtis back once again. Thank you, Curtis, for being here. And we've got Leeza with a dragon and a narwhal, or all sorts of magical creatures, as well as Lisa's a magical creature too. So thank you, Lisa, as well. And we've got Maureen here also with their baby Yoda. Everyone's why do I not have baby Yoda yet? Okay, thank you, Maureen, for being here, and Zentia as well. Zentia was being here, and Zentia, I think if that's the cue for waving to the screen, you can say hello to everyone. Because
This is the miniature mate.
this is beautiful. So, hi, everyone. We'll get a proper introduction in a couple minutes here. So welcome, everyone. Aloha to Zentia and theirs as well. And we've also got Hana and Amanda joining in with their baby Yodas and their little magical creatures also. So thank you, Hana, for joining in again. So wonderful. All right. So with that said, let's just kind of go over some basics. And for those of you in the YouTube chat, if the audio and the video is a little bit out of sync, we'll get that fixed as we go. Please feel free to share this broadcast with your friends. You're welcome to screenshot this, post it to your Instagram stories, tag Mystic Spider-Man, tell people they can click the link in my profile to be able to join in. If anything that you hear resonates throughout this broadcast, drop some 1111s in the chat. Drop some 1111s right now if you guys are excited to be able to get into this discussion. And again, if you haven't already yet, we've got a team Discord. You're welcome to connect to that. You can find all the links for that in the YouTube info, as well as we also have a Patreon, and that's where you can join on air for these weekly podcasts by becoming a Patreon supporter, getting full access to the community Discord. Joining at the $11 monthly contribution gives you all of the amazing abilities and perks within the community to help support you on your journey as a shifter, as a conscious media creator. So excited to be able to have such an amazing team brought here once again. So thank you to our Patreon supporters, and thank you to everyone for your support in all forms. And all the links that you'll need for all the creators that you see on air here, please go ahead, connect with them. Make sure that you follow up. Their links will be also in the info for this video after we have initially aired it, but we'll post it into the show notes as we go. So with that said, let's get things rolling. We're just going to do a quick little meditation, and then we'll get right into the discussion. We'll start passing the talking stick around and get into, again, this very important topic of spiritual wisdom of raising children. So just inviting everybody to just take an opportunity here to just join us in a quick little meditation. And we're just going to do a super micro one here. And so go ahead and get yourself nice and comfortable. And when you're ready, you can gently just close your eyes. Just allow yourself to connect with your breath. Soft, gentle inhales and soft, gentle exhales. And as you breathe here, maybe you just want to put your hand over your heart and just allow yourself to really just connect in this moment with gratitude for yourself, for showing up, gratitude for this beautiful community, and gratitude for the children of this world and the children inside of each and every single one of us, the inner child. And you can imagine all of us sitting in a circle right now, hanging out in a beautiful, cozy yoga studio apartment or wherever we may be. And you can imagine all of us maybe just kind of hanging out here, and you can see some of us like with the young ones, and the young ones are joining us, and maybe some of them are kind of like walking around and doing their own thing, and you can just feel just like the magic of their energy and their potential. And we're just so honored to be able to welcome them into this space so that we can learn from them, and to really move through this discussion with the intention of holding that space to see the children as equals, literally as spirit and soul, equally as old as all of us here. So just take a moment here to be able to just breathe into your heart space and just express gratitude for all the amazing people tuned into this broadcast, and just visualize this beautiful family that we've created here in the circle, and just allow yourself to just be in this moment. Just connect with your own breath, connect with your own silence. Just allow yourself to be able to express any gratitude and any sentences or words that you feel called to share in this moment through your heart. So just take a moment here within your own silence and just connect and feel this love and feel this magic. Go ahead. Just allowing yourself, maybe bring a soft little smile to your face, inviting that inner child within you to be able to come out and play. And just concluding here with any sentence or even just a few words that you feel called to be able to express to all the people here, perhaps something that resonates with today's theme, something to inspire their spirit, something to nurture their soul. So what do you want to say to every single person tuned in right now? Go ahead and take a moment just to feel that through your heart. Beautiful. Keeping this image within our hearts, we'll carry it with us throughout this discussion, throughout this beautiful, beautiful opportunity that we have created here together. So slowly from here, we'll gently bring our awareness back to our physical body. And when you're ready, you can slowly wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and gently open your eyes and return your awareness to the space around you. Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you again, everyone, so much for joining. For those of you in the YouTube chat, please feel free to leave a little comment down in the chat. What was the message that came through for you today? The message that came through for me was very straightforward. It was basically like the inner child within me sees and honors the inner child within you, or the infinite child within me sees and honors the infinite child. Excuse me, within you. So, okay, beautiful. All right, so with that said, let's get things started. Okay. Today's discussion topic, the spiritual wisdom of raising children. Now, this is an exciting topic for us to be able to have, as well as to be able to invite in some of the children on air with us today, because there's a lot that we can all be able to share on this, be it from our own personal experience, the fact that as far as I know, every single person here was a child at some point and grew to be an adult. And then again, you know, through that, we've also had our own experiences of what being raised has, how that impact has played out within your life. And so within this space, we're going to be talking about, you know, whether we're raising children as a parent, as a guardian, or maybe even just, you know, as a friend of someone else, as an instructor at camp, whatever it may be. I'm sure all of us have had some sort of experience of being around kids, and obviously are called to be able to be a part of this discussion, because state the obvious, children are the future. And within this discussion, we're really opening up the space to be able to invite in the children to be able to share and to be able to join us in a little bit of this play, and to really be able to honor the fact that each and every single one of us carries this wisdom, carries this insight. And so, yes, I love the idea that, especially from the perspective of a parent to their child, you know, there is kind of like this very powerful soul union that happens where, yes, the parent is raising the child, but equally so, the child is still teaching the parent. Them being there is helping the parent step into more of who they are, is helping them step into more of their identity as well. So I'm excited to be able to hear a little bit about that. I'll be able to share a little bit of my own experience. And again, we can even talk a little bit about our own experiences of maybe how our upbringing affected us and how it affected our spirituality. And don't shy away from the idea that, you know, like it's okay to be able to talk about the idea of maybe even the challenges of the things that we experience raising, because again, you know, I think in a lot of cases, as we grow into adulthood, oftentimes if we kind of went through a challenging period with our own with being raised as a child ourselves, if anything, it kind of like motivates us to be able to say like, you know, I'm going to make sure that I raise my children with like the love that I didn't receive as a child. So children are, again, you know, there's something that we have the opportunity to really be able to make a big impression on, to be role models for. And here within the Paradigm Shift community, that's a very, very important thing, you know. And I love the idea that here we have this space where there are the people who are coming in with their children. There are a lot of parents, there are a lot of mothers and fathers here, and people who are just, again, you know, stepping into that role of being leaders for that next generation, and encouraging them to step into their own power and their own creativity and their own compassion, and inspiring them to be able to get excited and hopeful about the future that they too will be leaders of. So with that said, we're going to pass the talking stick around. I'll share more about my own insights as we get going, but I'd love to just be able to honor the fact that again, some of us have the young ones with us. So if anybody wants to be able to jump right in, we'll create priority for those of us who have to put the young ones to bed soon. So we've got Zentia with theirs, we got Carley with theirs, we've got Hana and Amanda here as well. So passing it over to any of you first, and then we'll bring in anybody else after that, and we'll just kind of pass the talking stick around. And we're going to keep this podcast at probably under 2 hours is also the intention. So Zentia, we can pass it over to you first, and then who wants to go after Zentia, we can. And again, if you guys are fine with, we'll pass over to Amanda, and then we'll just go from there. So with that said, we'll pass it over to Zentia. So Zentia, let's give a nice warm welcome to Zentia and to their young ones who are here with us. And Zentia, if you can just adjust your camera real quick just as we get going. And Zentia, go ahead, passing the talking stick over to you. Tell us a little bit about your perspective of the spiritual wisdom of raising children. Welcome, Zentia. Go right ahead.
Hi, everybody. So I have my youngest and my oldest. You guys want to say hello?
You can say hi.
13 and 5. That's the oldest and the littlest. I'm a mommy of 6 kids. I have 5 boys and I have 1 girl, my oldest here. 5 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, and 12 years old. So I am, for me, I talk a lot. You guys know that. I talk a lot to them. She can attest. I talk to her all the time. And what I tell my kids is it's going to go to your subconscious mind. I know that you may not be understanding what I'm talking about. Yesterday, we learned about the torus field around the body and quantum manifestation. And my kids are looking at me and I'm like, I don't care. You're going to learn this. You know, we do in our homeschooling philosophy, we do Mandarin, we do French, we do quantum theories, because I feel like they should just have a little bit of everything past math and the core of your strength of math and English. There's so much that they can learn. And my kids are small, but they still come to me with philosophical questions. So why not let them dive in early on and get a feel of everything so they can find their truth early? Because for me, I wasn't allowed to explore my truth. I was put in a set system when I was younger. And it pushed me when I got, not immediately as a parent, when I got older, at the dark night of the soul. That's after that part. I was like, here in this space, I need my kids to be able, Mason, can you for a second? I need my kids to be able to, 1, feel free to be whatever it is they feel like they are. And 2, they need to be able to make the decision as far as the path they follow. If they grow up and they're Buddhists or they're Christians or they're atheists, I want them to have experienced enough to have made the decision for what makes them feel comfortable with their truth. So that's how I raised them here. And not gonna lie, you know, I raised them a little bit magical, just a little bit. You know, we do know the moons in this house. We do know this chakra clears all over my house. Just to balance out the energy. You know, timeout could look like you sitting in the chakra corner. Some deep breaths, you know, before you can come back to the group. Or any tools that I have, I integrate into their lives, and I try not to oversaturate it. But I do think it's important that they know all of this, because I watch adults struggle for the same information that I could just give them for free right now. And they can take it into their adulthood and use it and share it with their friends. All of my children have master numbers in their numerology report. So I know they're all here for an important reason. And I would suggest parents go through your children's numerology reports, go through the entire household, because what I found in our numerology reports is they tied in the same lessons that I'm sent here to take care of. My kids line up. All of us have the same lessons in the house. And if you don't know that, you could be fighting each other or fighting to get the groove in the household and may not know you're all here for similar things, and you can groove those lessons into the household. And learn the lessons with your kids, work on your past life lessons with your kids today. I think that's a really cool gift to have. So I encourage you all to go to Cafe Astrology, get your free numerology reports for you and your children, and take a look at it, because it also gives your kid like a cheat sheet for their life. And you as a parent, you get to dive deeper into where the stages of your kid's life, what they may be hitting, and help them. Two of my kids came in this world without any karma, meaning their life purpose, the two smallest ones, is literally to get what they want. That I didn't even know that was a thing. That's all they were born for. It's crazy. You should look at it. Take a look at it. So that's all I have for now. I don't want to take up too much time. You guys want to say good? You want to have anything to say, Kylie?
What's it? I'll ask your children. What's it like having Zentia as a mom? How awesome is she? She's pretty awesome.
She's pretty awesome, but her lectures and talking is really long. So I just kind of spaced out in the middle of it. And then just nod and say yes. Because I technically heard her. She says everything goes through subconscious, so I just use that to my advantage all the time. And space out when something gets not as interesting.
I'm spirituality and she's video gaming and anime. So we have a disconnect. We have she's like fluent in anime and video games, and I'm fluent in spirituality, and we try to meet somewhere in the middle. She'll bring me an anime with some spirituality or a game, and I'm like, that's awesome. Great. So we meet in the middle. And Mason is, still the baby.
Yeah.
Say goodbye.
Cool, awesome. And Zentia, I'll just ask you just in like 30 seconds, what did they teach you? Like just in a short 30-second answer.
That I don't know anything. That's what they taught me. Because all the things I thought I knew, they come, especially this one here. That's hard to calculate, because they are constantly putting me in a place of, they recheck me, they rebalance me. They teach me back my own lessons. They put me back in place. That's what I taught, that to be humble and to know that I know nothing, because there's so many things I thought I had grasped, and kids re-teach you your life, so many things. And also, why so serious? That's something my kids, when I'm stressed out, they're like, a hug, a joke, a smile, here's a dandelion. You want to, blow these things off, make a wish, that simple thing. They bring me back to simple, and I'm grateful for that space.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Zentia, and thank you, team, as well. Love being able to have the whole family on here, so that's wonderful. So awesome. All right, we'll keep things moving along here, and again, just super inspired by the amazing, like I love being able to hear Zentia and just being able to get a look into this world. And again, thank you, Zentia, for the work that you're doing as a wonderful mother. We send you so much love. So beautiful. All right, so Amanda, we can pass it over to you next, and Amanda's got their young ones with them as well. So Amanda, when you're ready, we'll pass it over to you and go right ahead.
Hi guys, so I'm Amanda. This is Danielle. You guys all know Anna because she's in pretty much everything I am. Daniel is 7 and Anna is 5. Can we turn that off for a second and do the dance party later? Thank you. So they've actually both been doing meditation and yoga longer than I have, because they've been taught it in school. So they've actually taught it to me a little bit more than I've taught it to them. No, thank you. So they've been really helping me with my spiritual journey. we've been basically we've been helping each other along this path because it's been a healing process for all three of us. But they've been a huge help with that. I've just always taught them that magic is real. Daniel, when he was 2, we had an entire discussion on why we're not hobbits. Anna's a little bit obsessed with Baby Shark at the moment. But like Daniel's also into video games and anime, so that was kind of cool. Anna's all into unicorns and magic. Daniel's also into magic. We're just very spiritual all together and have been since the get-go. They're a little bit more into it than me, which is kind of funny. But yeah, we can do Baby Shark. How about you ask Brendon later when we can do a dance party with Baby Shark and you can play Baby Shark for everyone, okay? Is that deal?
Well,
okay.
I think does Anna. I'm okay with you guys helping us do a little Baby Shark right now. I think it would actually just help get everybody all fun and silly. Should we do Baby Shark now, Anna, or should we do it later? I'll let her decide.
Baby Shark.
Want to do some Baby Shark? You guys want to do some Baby Shark real quick? Okay, so Anna, can you show us how to do Baby Shark real quick? Can we sing it along?
We're gonna sing? Mommy shark, mommy shark. Daddy shark, daddy shark, daddy shark, daddy shark. Let's go hunt, let's go hunt, let's go hunt, let's go hunt. Yay!
Yay! Thank you, Anna. That was wonderful. That was just what we needed. I was on the edge of my seat waiting for us to do Baby Shark, so that was perfect. That was perfect. Oh, wonderful. And Amanda, kind of going back to the same question that I asked Zentia, what do you feel? I mean, you did already kind of answer this, but just maybe again, what do you feel you learned? What do you feel they helped teach you? If you just want to go back and just reiterate anything else from that.
Everything. They've taught me more about spirituality than anybody else ever has. Most importantly, they teach me to take time every day and play with them and just take a break every now and then, like right now. But it's mostly just finding the magic in everything every day.
It's beautiful.
We're all about magic over here.
Absolutely, I can tell. You got some powerful little wizards and witches there with you, so absolutely, so awesome. Anna, Daniel, is there anything you want to share about how much you love your mom? She's really cool.
What do you think? Am I a good mommy? Maybe half the time. Okay, I'll take it.
Mom is awesome times. Yeah.
No, you don't need to do show and tell. But Brendon asked if I'm a good mommy. You don't know? Sometimes.
Well, Anna, thank you for joining. We appreciate you being here, and we're excited for you to grow up and to change the world with your awesome magic. So.
Hey, listen. Carley and I are doing the team meditation tomorrow. Are you going to do it with us?
Maybe Anna can help lead the team meditation. There we go. That'd be perfect. So there we go. Anna, Sifu Anna over here. So beautiful. Well, Anna, Amanda, Daniel, thank you guys so much. I love being able to do the Baby Shark dance with you, and please feel free to stick around, and we'll hear more from you guys later. So if you guys want to say thank you and hi to everybody again, you guys can go right ahead. So you can say hi everyone. Hi. Thank you guys. All right, thank you, Amanda. Wonderful, beautiful. All right, so we'll keep things rolling along here, and Carley, did you want to go next? Just giving you the opportunity to be able to jump in. Okay, we'll pass it over to Carley, and then we'll keep the talking stick going around. So, Carley, when you're ready, you can go ahead and unmute your microphone, and we'll pass it over to you and your little one. So, we'll just give Carley 2 seconds here. She gets all set up and ready to go, and
Yeah. Hey,
There you go.
I took my headphones out so that Elon
That's
could hear
good. Yeah,
the sound.
no, that's fine. That's fine. So go
Awesome.
right ahead. Go right ahead, Carley, when you're ready.
Yes. So I was actually told that I couldn't mom. So he was totally a surprise for me. But he's been just like the greatest blessing. Like everyone said, just that reminder to come back to the present moment and to find magic in every little thing. And I just feel like, yeah, like, there are so many lessons that we learn from them. Right now he's almost 2.5. So still pretty young, not totally talking yet, but yeah, he's just so in tune with everything. Like super silly, always playing, like always like trying to cheer me up if I'm sad, like if I'm doing a meditation and he sees me crying, oh hi, thank you. Just threw this at me. Get over here. Get over here.
Somebody's excited.
He's so excited, and he's like, he's really good at, I know, he's really good at pulling me back from like if I'm too much on my device. He's like, what is all this? He's like, Mom, come on, let's just play. Like, let's just be silly, right? And that's what you're all about. Yeah. Which is great because I kind of grew up as the oldest child, so I felt like I parented all my siblings and didn't like enjoy myself as a kid. So this is like my second chance to like be a kid again, right? I don't know if I touched on the question. I feel like I'm just rambling now. Yes.
Well, that's awesome, and again, like, well, there's so much to be able to talk about, and thank you so much. Sending love, I can feel it. So, yeah, no, again, there's stuff that we can probably talk about a little bit later on and everything like that, but I'll just ask it now. And Zentia and Amanda, if you guys want to jump back in on this, did you guys feel that there was like a soul connection between you and your children, even like before they came into this world? Like, I know a lot of people talk about that, like people who I know who are mothers will say, like, be like, oh, like I had dreams about my child like before they were born, like their name was like told to me through a dream or something like that. I'm curious if there's any kind of psychic spiritual phenomena related to the experience of, just feeling that connection to them, that soul connection to them. If you guys want to share that, Carley, I'll give you a chance to be able to share, and then Amanda, I know you got your hand up as well, so go ahead, Carly. You can unmute yourself if you got something to share on that. So
yes, that was the weirdest thing was before I knew I was pregnant, I was really sick, and I was like, had this weird thing that I said out loud. I was like, this little boy, is gonna kill me before he's even here. And it was like, what? Like, I'm not pregnant. And then I, obviously found out I was. Didn't find out I was having a boy until much later, but just that strange phenomenon of knowing. And 3 women that I know had dreams about him before I knew I was pregnant and told me that I was pregnant. So 3 totally random women that I knew from one from work and then 2 of my close friends. And it was like, you guys are dreaming about my baby, like my future baby. What? So very odd. And then I named him Elin after my grandmother Helen, who passed away a few years ago. And so I tried to turn that into a boy's name. But yeah, his name definitely came to me like in the middle of the night. I just woke up and knew it. So odd.
Say the name again.
Elin, Elin.
Elin. Mm-hmm. Wow, sounds like an elven name.
It is.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
What does it mean?
Moon or light.
Oh, perfect. That's a beautiful name. That's wonderful. So
thank you.
Awesome. Well, I know Amanda had something to share on that. So Carly, if you're okay with that, we'll pass it around. Beautiful. All right, Amanda, go ahead if you wanted to be able to share anything on that general topic of feeling the connection to them beforehand. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was pregnant with Daniel. I actually had a dream about walking on a cliff in Nova Scotia towards this house. And I was holding hands with a little girl with long brown hair. And that was you. And we were collecting flowers. and I was absolutely insistent that I was having a little girl. We actually had his gender checked 16 times because I did not believe that he was a little boy because of my dream. And then when I got pregnant with her, I knew that that dream was actually about her and that she was coming as a girl. And I actually thought that she was my grandma reincarnated for the longest time. Apparently, my grandma was just attached to us. But yeah, I knew she was coming good 2 years before she existed.
That's amazing, and that's so amazing. And again, you know, again, I'm just kind of diving in here because I want to just I know the kids aren't going to be able to stay around for the whole time. But another thing that I'm just kind of curious about is, and again, I know, and other people can talk on this too, and we can hear about this phenomena, but of like children actually being able to like almost like remember that in those younger ages, like remember like where they were before they were born. You know, like literally being able to like remember a past life. And so Elan's, I'm just watching Elan crawling around on Carley's screen. It's just like, but I'm curious if anybody here has any insight on that, or has ever had those conversations with them, or another thing, Zentia, I see your hand up. Another thing is like, even like being able to talk with your children about dreams when they're young, like before they kind of get to like, you know, by the time they get to about like when they're like starting to talk, and before they're kind of like in between like almost like 2, 3, 4, 5 ish, that kind of age, and you start asking them, and you just be like, oh, what did you dream about and stuff like that. I've heard plenty of stories of people just being able to really hear some fascinating things from their children. But yeah, going back to the idea, you know, without even having to call it reincarnation, but just like children coming into this life with like things that they know that you wouldn't normally expect them to be able to know. I'm curious if anybody has any experience with that, or any of their own sort of visions or anything. Zentia, did you want to share something with that on that? And Anna and Amanda like flame. Go ahead, Zentia. We'll pass it over to you.
So I had for me with my children, I had a dream before they came, all of them. There was some kind of Mason. There was some kind of a fish always. One time it was, 2 times it was a fish. No, one time it was a fish tank. For Nathan, my second child, and all of the fish were swimming outside of the fish tank, and I was in a stroller with my daughter, who was 1 at the time, and I called my husband, and he came to get the carriage. But that was my Sunday morning. It was always, Mason, please. It was always a forthcoming. I even see fish for other people's dreams. Even my
Come on, Mason.
and my kids also come to me with their dreams now. You know, they know I like to decipher them, and dreams are important in this house. We're all lucid dreamers in here, so they have very vivid dreams like I do. My one son, Jacob, he was the one who, between the ages of 1 to like 5, you two, cut it out. Between the ages of 1 to 5, he remembered being somewhere else. And he said he had like 13 brothers and sisters, and he described his parents, he described his siblings, he described where he was. And he held tight to that vision for years of he was somewhere else. And it's funny because this is the kid that shows up in my vivid dreams. Whenever I was locked in a dream and I couldn't get out, he was the child that would show up and allow me passage out of that dream to wake up. And I don't even still know why or how that works. But he's in his numerology report, he's the child that's supposed to be the shaman. That's his legacy, or that's part of his journey. So he has a deep connection. He also has a deep connection to pharaohs in Egypt and lions. And he's a Leo, but he takes that lion energy really, really seriously. So yeah, I mean, I have a house full of little psychics. I have like 6 whole little mystical people that come with different messages and interesting dreams and things. And yeah, it's interesting. It is interesting. Yeah, I never even knew this was a thing. I didn't know. All these masters. I'm the only one without a master number in my whole household. I'm the only one. I got a 3. That's it. So yeah, one of them did hold his memories, and I don't find it strange. I don't discount him.
That's beautiful. And yeah, and again, you know, in those moments where I think as the adults, it's so valuable to just be able to like generally just hold space for that, like instead of just being like, oh, that's, you know, that's just your imagination, which is something I'm sure many of us have been told growing up, but instead to like ask some questions and to generally just kind of like respect what they're saying, and then they feel comfortable being able to share more. And again, you know, like what when it comes to raising children, what does it look like when we as individuals and as a society really start to raise children in a way where we're upholding their imagination and their psychic connections and their spiritual awareness, everything? What happens when we foster that, right? Because I think so many of us, it probably wasn't fostered in us. It's very rare to meet people who are within our age demographic who happen to have parents who might have been like very spiritually in tune themselves, but for most of us, you know, like our parents weren't necessarily like spiritually in tune, and we kind of had to go through the awakening process later. But now for many of us, as we've gone through a spiritual awakening and we're starting to step into these roles of guardianship and parental figures and just, you know, helping lead that next generation, it's such a powerful thing to just be able to feel it inside of us and just be able to like want to be able to like help these kids like keep that spiritual awareness as they move through that adolescent phase and literally like into their adult years, while still also honoring their path. You know, I think it's one of those things where as an adult, and I'm sure, you know, the others can probably speak onto this, where it's kind of one of those things where it's like you want to be able to invite them into these ideas without like expecting them to necessarily like believe this X, Y, or Z, but really letting them choose and really letting them explore. And I think that is one of the most important things that we can do as adults working with children, is to really give them the freedom to be able to make their own choices and to be able to explore on their own. And in that, you know, it's just like you're already saying, Zentia, it's like if they decide to lean more into the spirituality, then they'll make that choice, you know. But I think what will happen is in a lot of phases we'll kind of go through this self-discovery where we'll move away from spirituality, and that's okay. You know, spirituality almost becomes like this thing where it's just like, oh well, like, you know, like mom's always talking about spirituality, and I'm kind of, and it like I need something different. I need a breath from it, right? So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like if the parents think it's cool, then it's instantly not cool to the kids. So you kind of have to have this like reverse psychology where it's just like it's okay if you don't want to do this, like it's okay. But you know, maybe when you're older you'll go back and be like, oh man, like mom was really onto something there, right? But it's planting the seeds, right? That's what we do as adults. We plant the seeds, we nurture them, and then we honor them to grow into what they naturally will, without trying to like make them into what we hope or expect them to necessarily be. So yeah, anyways, let's just keep the talking stick going around. Amanda, Carley, Zentia, thank you guys so much just for being able to help get the conversation rolling here. We got a few more people here just to be able to invite in to talk next, and also Hana, thank you for joining in as well. So at this point, let me just get like, okay, again, just on the general topic, spiritual wisdom of raising children, who's like most excited to be able to talk? So we've got Hana, Leeza, and Becca as well. Okay, so let's pass it over to Becca, because I know Becca is up late right now, and Becca almost had their child joining in as well, but they're asleep right now, so you can talk on their behalf, I guess, or something. So we'll pass it over to Becca, and then from there, Hana will pass it over to you, and then Leeza will pass it over to you. So Becca, let's bring you in and passing the talking stick over to you, and go ahead, share a little bit from your experience, spiritual wisdom of raising children, and let's give a nice warm welcome to Becca. Thank you, Becca.
Hi everyone. Well, I'm a mom and also a foster carer, and also well, over here we call it a carer, even though, because I have a child with disabilities. Oh, well, we call them extraordinary abilities, but yeah. And I've been a foster carer for, well, since I was 19, on and off. So I've had a lot of experiences with children, but the connection between me and Ava is so strong. I mean, I think quite a few people have seen Ava now and know who she is, but she's basically like my little other half. I tend to describe her as my miracle child, because before I got pregnant with her, I didn't think I could have any children. I was going through tests, and they didn't know, like, basically why I couldn't get pregnant. And then she just popped in out of nowhere. It felt. She actually saved me from a really bad bout of depression. And we've always been described as being very in tune with each other. She always knows when I need to be picked up. And even though I don't really tend to show when I feel that way, but she just seems to know. And then also, she's been through a lot of stuff herself, and I've had to be her voice. So we've grown really close. Ava has come into spirituality actually before me. She was showing interest in like paganism and stuff, and learning about that kind of thing, like spring solstice. She likes to celebrate spring solstice because she's a spring child. And she started creating links herself, and I think that the reason why is because of the trauma that she's been through. So something just clicked in her, and she probably started going through an awakening before I did. She's on a healing journey, and just as much as what I am, and we're there for each other. But this community has helped her leaps and bounds in just a few short weeks that she's been involved. I was speaking to Seafood Boggy about it earlier as well, that she feels accepted for once. And that's a big deal for her because she has autism. She struggles with connection and communication. And one of the biggest things that she said she likes about this community is that she's able to communicate with people, which means that she feels that every one of you reaches her on an authentic level. And it's so special. I can't even put it into words. It's so special to us. It means so much. I'm sorry, I went on a rant.
Oh, that was beautiful, Becca. Again, I'm sure there's plenty more to be able to say, and please, by all means, go ahead and pace yourself. I really appreciate you sharing, and it's been wonderful to see Ava's participation, and it's funny because it's like, it's really cool because I think what's happening is like Ava, like again, like we have this village here, this digital village that we're creating here within this community, within Paradigm Shift Central, within, Vibio, within all the other communities that are kind of linked through this. And Ava's one of the older kids, like how old is Ava? Just to confirm, she's about
she's 9.
About 9. I figured as much.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because like even for Ava to just kind of be like stepping in, like I'm sure there are going to be like other kids who are seeing Ava who kind of like see Ava, and then that helps them feel comfortable with getting involved. So it's like Ava's almost becoming a role model for like the younger kids within this as much as we are for her, sort of thing. So you can see this kind of like ripple effect, and again, like I can clearly see this like this future where again, by the time like Ava's like 16, 17, if she's really feeling the call to do this, like she'll be doing her own broadcast on her own. And again, we'll mention it now, and we'll talk a little bit more about it ongoing, even in this broadcast and other broadcasts. But there's been, again, work going on within the community, and Becca, as well as some other people involved, have been working on this additional side project called Happy Hearts House. And I'll give Becca a chance just to be able to talk a little bit more about it. But basically it is, again, kind of like this social social media project community that's designed, like focusing on being able to help support children in their spiritual practices, and being able to help foster space for that inspiration. And one thing that we're mentioning it now, even though like it's still kind of in the works, but this has kind of been an ongoing thing that we've really been talking about, is like being able to create these sacred digital Zoom spaces for kids, like for kids who are kind of, you know, whether and not even explicitly like into spirituality, but just for kids to be kids. And it can be like kind of co-facilitated by some of us in the community. And, you know, that could be something where, you know, someone like Ava could even be like helping moderate that in a way, because she's a little bit more mature as well. And at least just be able to have that opportunity to, I think that's the thing, right? Like when we give children like this opportunity to be able to say like, hey, like here's a little responsibility, like not like do this or else, but like no, like here's responsibility for you to be able to step into, right? Like it's exciting to be able to see what a child, like a young child, not like super young, but you know, the ones who are starting to get closer to their again, like 9, 10, 11, 12, when they're starting to develop that identity, and they're starting to develop that confidence, and they're starting to be able to see the role that they play within those who are younger than them as well. And I think that's a powerful thing for us to be able to, as adults, to be able to do, is to be able to put that trust into our children, to be able to say like, it's okay for you to do this, and it's okay for you to do this and to make mistakes and to learn, and to really just be able to lead by that example. That, you know, for raising children, I think it's such a powerful thing to be able to incorporate this learning process that involves play, that involves the idea that, you know, through failure we fall forward, we learn forward, we learn, we grow, and to be able to get them comfortable with trying things that are outside of their comfort zone, because that is how they learn. And so, you know, again, there's more to be able to talk about that, but I don't want to stray too far. Becca, we'll pass it over to you, and then we'll pass it over to other people here, just to be able to keep things rolling along, because I know there's a lot to be able to talk about. Please feel free to tell us a little bit about Happy Hearts House, maybe even just a little bit of the inspiration about it. And again, for those of you interested, Instagram.com, Happy Hearts House. And like we said, stay tuned for like updates about like future events that will be happening and things yet. There's nothing in stone just planned yet, but stay tuned, especially if you got a young one, or maybe a nephew or a niece or someone that you might want to forward it to. So go ahead, Becca. I'll pass it over to you. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So I do have permission from Ava to tell a little bit of her backstory, but I'll not go into too much detail because it's a little bit dark. But Ava has experienced some really serious trauma from a very young age, through ages of development where it really mattered. And when I found out about it, it brought about a lot of guilt, because I thought that, because me and Ava's dad are separated and have been for many years, since Ava was a little, like 2 years old, I thought that I was doing the best for her by trying to encourage consistent quality contact for her. Little did I know that I was sending her into where the trauma was happening, you know, and it made me feel awful. Like I'd spent all my years trying to be her voice and make sure she got support and make sure she'd got everything that she needed. And I was coming from a place of my own trauma doing that, because as a child I didn't have that level of support and attention and time and passion, you know. So when it came to bringing up my own child, I gave her everything that I could, and I made sure, you know, I was trying. And although parenthood is magic, you know, it's also not easy at all, especially emotionally. And when trauma comes involved, it can send you into crashing and burning. And so basically we both went through quite a difficult time last year when it all came to light. And that's when I found this community, and we both started on our journey of healing. And then I was like, there needs to be a space for kids to not feel alone, because Ava has nobody who can identify with the things that she's been through. She's got nobody that she can talk to her own age, or not, or who she could talk to openly and authentically and trusting, you know. And it's sad, because when I was a child, I had a best friend who I could tell anything to. And in this day and age, there's a lot of kids out there that don't have a peer group. You know, they don't have a connection with children their own age. And Happy Hearts House comes from that, because I started to recognize in my own community that there's a lot of disconnect with kids and their heart, and how they love themselves, how they view themselves, and how they view other people and other kids, and how they view the world. They're so afraid, and then they're conditioned to be afraid, and it limits them from experiencing life, and from gaining great friendships, and from making memories, because they're just living in fear constantly. They can't go out and play on the local park without something bad really happening. You know, we didn't experience any of that fear. We were so free. We were making dens and Tarzan swings and going collecting grasshoppers in ice cream tubs, you know, that kind of thing when we were kids. And they can't do any of that. So there needs to be something in place where kids can just be kids and not be so worried about. The other week, Ava broke down in tears because she was so scared about what's going on in the world. She's 9 years old. Why is she worrying about the world? You know, she just cares so much. And for a child who's coming from, like, if you were coming from like the fact that she's autistic, and there's a stereotype that autistic people don't empathize, well, that's wrong, because how can she feel so sad? Like, her heart was breaking open, you know, and that made me cry. And then it just made me think, these kids, they need to be shown that they don't need to fear the world, that they are the ones that are going to change it. And that's where Happy Hearts House came from. I want to be able to bring our children home to their hearts, and enable them to live in their truth, in their authentic self. And I'm so grateful that there's people like Leeza who's going to help me to do so. And Kai, I don't think he's in here, but is the same. And I know there's plenty more people that are wanting to like collab and jump on board and do this for the children. And it warms my heart so much that people are wanting to get involved and bring these kids together and give them opportunities to live to their full potential. And that's what it's about.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Becca, so much for sharing, and again for really just being able to answer that soul calling, to be able to do something that is incredibly important and incredibly needed right now. And thank you to Ava. We appreciate you so much, and we're waving to you right now, Ava. So whenever they get a chance to be able to join us on air at any point, Ava. Thank you, and yes, thank you thank you, Ava, for joining on air for our team meditations and everything like that as well. It honestly, it brightens us up knowing that you're there. Like your energy is felt within the community. So thank you, Ava, specifically as well. So beautiful. All right, so again, for those looking to be able to connect with Rebecca, and maybe you might want to be able to even like volunteer to assist with that, reach out to Rebecca on Instagram, Spiritually Divine Unicorn, or check out Happy Hearts House on Instagram, and there is also the TikTok for that as well. But again, you can connect through Instagram, the most easiest. So we'll post the links for that into the information as we go. Let's keep things rolling along here, team. I know originally I said this broadcast was going to be a 2-hour one. We'll keep an eye on the time, and again, that's just because I want to just be able to like make sure we're not staying up too late. If anybody does have to head out early, go ahead and let us know. I think some of the kids have probably already gone to bed, but we'll just kind of keep things rolling along, and we'll just be relatively concise so that we can get through as many people as we can. And please, at this point, we'll share from our personal experience maybe, or just even our experience like mentoring kids, whatever you want to be able to talk about the spiritual wisdom of raising children, things that you've learned from the children, things that you feel are important, wisdom that you want to be able to pass on to the audience. So Hana, we'll pass over to you, and then we'll pass over to Leeza next, and then we'll keep going from there. So Hana, welcome. Let's give a nice warm welcome to Hana, and when you're ready, Hana, go right ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you to all the beautiful mothers who have shared such wonderful wisdom with us already. I've actually been inspired to share a little bit about how I was raised. My mom was very spiritual. She was doing like all sorts of breathing and meditation and like free spirited festivals about a decade prior to me being born. And earlier when we were talking about dreams, it reminded me that last year I found in my like old baby box a dream entry that my mom had 4 years before I was born. I won't read the whole thing for the sake of time, but I just noticed that it was dated August 1994. But she had said that she was recalling a dream that happened about a month prior. Which would have been June, and I was born in June, which I just thought was so cool. I was like, oh my gosh, my mom had the prophetic dream about me 4 years before I was born. Once I was born, my mom told me that she knew I was an indigo child. I never knew this. I asked her this last year, and she goes, oh yeah, I knew. She decided not to tell me because she wanted me to find my path for myself. What she did do was she would teach me to follow my intuition. I actually have a friend whose mother would always tell her like, you're gonna get killed if you go out and like you're like a young girl, be careful, but like basically like fear mongering her daughter. And I was really like perplexed by this because I never had that experience. And when I asked my mom about it, she had said, well, I didn't, teach you like, stranger danger, strangers are bad. I taught you intuition and to follow what you feel. So I believe that giving me that freedom to like explore who I was without like placing that on me, while encouraging things like following my intuition, being true to myself. She raised me vegetarian, which I'm very grateful for. Now, it's just so interesting to think. My only other little side note here is that I'm not a mother, but I am a puppy mom. And with my puppy love, I have just been learning so much humility, so much patience. Yesterday, I stepped barefoot in poop and had to just walk it off, literally, go wash it off at the beach. And before I had a little being that I was taking care of, I would have been so mad, so triggered, so like ruined my day. I just laughed it off. I was like, yeah, it's just poop, whatever. And I think that's the type of thing that you don't really appreciate about like living things until you have one that you're caring for. Or maybe not appreciate, but like kind of habituate to. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm so grateful having had a spiritual mom. We still learn so much from each other every day. It's amazing. And I appreciate you for giving me the space to share about it. Thanks, Brendon.
Thank you, Hana, as well. And again, and I love just being able to hear your story, Hana, as an example of just, you know, firsthand what that's like, and just to see it again, you know, like you growing up as who you are, and then imagining, you know, like the generations that you will help raise and how they will be influenced by the positive influence that your mother has brought onto as well. So again, you know, there's a vision there for that. And I think when we talk about like this like new earth and everything like that, we feel it. It's like this idea of like really just being able to, again, like inspire and lift up the children while inviting them to, again, follow the heart. And I think that's a great thing that your mother did, where again, you know, it's just like, it's like, oh, I knew, but I didn't tell you. Like you had to figure it out on your own, right? Like I think that's actually a very, really powerful way to go about it. So shout out to your mom, Hana, and again, shout out to all the beautiful moms. Like seriously, like when we do this project, like this is us, this is me, this is us, like in service to like the divine mother. So I honor the divine mother in each and every single one of you. It really means a lot just to be able to be here amongst such beautiful women and to be able to hear you share. And again, you know, as someone who is stepping into their divine masculine more and more each day, it really just inspires me to be able to learn from you and to be able to, again, kind of integrate that wisdom as well. And that's something I may talk about during this podcast. We'll see. But again, you know, that's part of my story where, like, for me, those of you who have like known me over the years, like I am moving into this stage where there's like a part of me that is stepping more into this role of being a father figure. And basically the context for there is like Lacey already has a child. Like Lacey already has a young boy. And so Lacey and I, like, we're in a relationship. And so my story there has been like being able to like be a role model for the child there. And that's something that like it naturally, I'm just naturally being able to move into it. And it feels very natural for me. I've always, I'll just speak here just for a quick experience. A lot of you don't even really necessarily know this. I grew up like I've done like camp counselor type stuff. I mean, as if that wasn't obvious, right? Like it's just like, oh, I guess Brendon was a camp counselor or something like that in some version or another, right? But I also another thing that I also did that was actually a really big part of my story is that I actually used to be I worked for like a superhero costume party for kids' birthdays. So basically, this was like before I became Mystic Spider-Man officially. I worked for like a costume party where I would dress up as different superheroes for kids' birthdays, and literally like it comes full circle. It's like, oh, that makes so much sense, right? Of course he did. And so even then, that was when I was dressing up as Spider-Man. And then a little while later, I'm just like, why don't I just dress up as Spider-Man and do free hugs, but then put some board shorts on and make it cool and everything like that and make it my own style. But the genesis of that literally came from, again, you know, like I had worked with kids at various kind of like camps and things over the years. I've also been an instructor for kids at like a ninja camp, like a parkour facility where we were teaching them there as well. That was really fun. But I'll just say this real quick because I want to be able to pass it along. When I was particularly working with the kids at the at this job as, again, dressing up as different characters, so I would dress up as like Spider-Man, Superman, even Jack Sparrow. So imagine me with like my Jack Sparrow goatee and big like hair and stuff. It was really ridiculous, really handsome, I bet, really swashbuckling Brendon here. But when I was in that position where, you know, I was showing up with the kid's birthday party, for me, it was always really cool because I would kind of like sometimes I would bring in this like very like heart-centered awareness. All the time I would, but even sometimes even like subtle spiritual themes, I would kind of sprinkle it in. And I would always have to like tell these stories and teach these kids. So when I would teach these, I would tell a story, and the story would actually be like some sort of like allegory or metaphor that would actually teach the kids about, reminding them that the superpower that they have is the power of the heart, and kind of like teaching them about the power of kindness and compassion and things like that. So that was always something that was really powerful for me. And the thing that I always really loved is that, you know, when you work with kids and you really meet them at this level, not only do you just allow yourself to vicariously see the world through their eyes, where they're in the magic, you know, like that was always, it's so weird, right? Like, when you show up at these parties, in these kids' minds, like, you are Spider-Man, like you literally are Spider-Man. So it's just like, okay, this kid's looking at me as if I'm Spider-Man. How can I leave a meaningful impression on them and plant a powerful seed where as they grow up, they'll be like, oh, Spider-Man told me that I have the power to be able to help change the world. by being kind and compassionate. Like, whoa, that's pretty freaking big, right? That's pretty freaking cool. And then even when I was doing free hugs as my Mystic Spider-Man and stuff like that, like there were times where, you know, it'd be like at like events and there'd be families with kids, and then even then I would like do the free hugs and the kids would come up to me, there's videos of this, and the kids are like, you're so cool, and then I would literally be like, I would give them a free hug sign and I would be like, here, like the power is yours now, like take this free hug sign, take it with you, go change the world, right? To give them this mission, to give them this vision of what it is that they can aspire to. So again, you know, helping kids see the superhero inside themselves and really help talk to them in a language that they understand, and really honoring and respecting them, that they are intelligent, that they are, you know, again, these like immortal soul, and really speaking to their soul on that level. And for me, being able to kind of step more into that divine masculine and a bit more of that mentor role as a daddy Brendon, that's like my nickname for those of you. I know you know, it's catchy, right? But anyways, as daddy Brendon, I just feel like, you know, so much of it is just about being very patient and listening, and just like very present, and the being able to share that, and just being able to like see like the awe and wonder when, you know, being around, and just being able to learn from kids too. It's so beautiful. It's such a gift, and I'm so grateful just to be able to be stepping more into that. Let's keep the talking stick passing along here. So Leeza, I'm gonna pass over to you. Jessica, did you want to go next after Leeza, or if anybody needs to like definitely go beforehand, let me know. Again, I appreciate everybody just being patient. I know we can't all talk at once just yet, but we're gonna keep things rolling along. So Leeza, we'll pass over to you, and then either Jessica or if anybody else, if you guys wanted to decide in the Zoom chat who wants to go next, that's up to you. Leeza, we'll pass it over to you. Let's give a nice warm welcome to Leeza and her beautiful magical unicorn narwhal. What is it? Narwhal? Narwhal. So, all right, let's pass it over to Leeza. Leeza, thank you so much for being here. And when you're ready, go ahead and share the spiritual wisdom of raising children from your perspective.
So it's so funny because you're like reading my mind, Brendon. But I just wanted to let you know, so I'm not a parent yet. I know for a fact that I will be a parent, and I know that I'm gonna have twins. I've had the dreams, and I'm very excited. Don't know when it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. I have been working with kids pretty much my whole life, and my whole life is going to be working with kids. I'm currently studying social work at school to be able to work with kids and be able to support them, and that has been my whole goal. I've been a camp counselor, lifeguard, swim instructor. I've worked in a daycare. As a teaching assistant, I've done a lot of kid work, and from like 6 months to like 16 years old, and I love all the ages. But one thing that I wanted to like talk about is, you know, showing them that they are so special, and especially at those older ages, that like starting at like 10 to like 12 and getting up there, it's like when they're starting to find out their identities and figure out who it is that they really are. And to be there and to be able to gently support them and to let them be who they are and know that they can come to you with support. And if they need a shoulder to cry on, or if they need someone to like cheer them on, like to be able to be there and to have someone is so important, to be able to be there for them and not controlling, and even if you're not a parent, or even if, you know, you're just coming into contact with these kids, like you can have such an impact just by giving them a smile, giving them, I love your t-shirt, it's super cool, like just anything, and it just brightens their whole day. And so I did want to talk about an experience that I had while I was working with one of the campers. And I'm a travel counselor now, and well, not now because of COVID, but I've been a travel counselor, and you get very tired, and we all have moments where, you know, it's been a long day, you're exhausted, and the kids have boundless energy, and they're like, Leeza, look at this, and you're just like, oh my god, and you're just like, and you just kind of yell at them, and you don't mean to, you're stressed from the day, and you might take it out on them, and you know, it happens. And I'm sure all the parents here have been there. If you've worked with kids, you've been there. Like, it happens. And I realized this, and I realized, oh my god, like I did this. And afterwards I went over to their room, and I was like, hey, can I talk to you? And she's like, what? Like, she was all mad at me, and I was like, listen, like, I apologize. I was like, I was upset. I was frustrated from the day, and I was tired, and I took it out on you, and that's not fair, and I apologize for yelling. And just to be able to recognize that it wasn't them, that it wasn't their fault. Like, they know on some level that, like, I didn't do anything wrong. But they get so, like, it hurt it even if they don't show it, it hurts them, and they'll feel it, and even, like, it's in there. And so her face was just so taken back when I said that, because I don't think she, like, this is a girl like that. She she did not have a strong support system, and, like, person that was there for her, like, took their anger out on her. And like, I realized, and I started doing that more often, and realizing, like, it's okay, like, when you're working with these kids, like, sometimes some of your own trauma comes up, and sometimes some of your own things will come up. And I have plenty of other stories of that, but I'll keep that short so not waste so much time. But it's just so important to be able to recognize them as the human beings that they are, and recognize that you're not perfect, they're not perfect, and it's okay. And to show them, like, your flaws, that we can move forward and we can move through them. And I think that is so important with kids, and to just show them respect, and just show them that they're humans and they're equal to you. And, they matter, and their light is beautiful, and even in the dark times, they're beautiful souls. So that's all I gotta say on that. I mean, I
Aw.
could say a million other
A
things,
million
but
more.
I'll keep it short.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Leeza. Yeah, again, just real quick, and then we'll pass it over. I guess, Jessica, did you want to go next? I know Curtis after that. Did Jessica, did Jessica have to leave early? Is that what happened there? No, Jessica's there. Okay. Yeah, no, just reiterating that. Yeah, like, I think with kids, like, they force us to work on our own stuff. Like, they force us to become self-aware of our own stuff, because if we don't, we unconsciously accidentally end up projecting it. And once we become aware that that is something that can happen, and if it does happen, it's a great time to be able to take responsibility about that. And again, I think raising children is being a good role model, and being able to admit when you might have made a quote unquote mistake in your own way, and apologizing, and just saying, like, hey, like, I did this and this and this, but I wanted to say that, like, I love you, I care about you, and thank you for loving me in return, because, like, even though I'm the parent, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and things like that too. So I think, again, raising children is also being very, very gentle with ourselves, as much as we are, with the kids. But absolutely, it's amazing to think that as we are working with children, it motivates us to be able to work on our own stuff as well. Otherwise, we end up bringing it into that relationship, which isn't fair to the kids. So the children are definitely, again, a big catalyst to really be able to help us grow into a new level, to be able to say, to really help us live that idea of being like, I want to be the best version that I can of myself for them, for me, but also for them, because they deserve it. They really, really deserve it. And then they will continue that on. So Jessica, give me a thumbs up. We'll pass it over to you, and then from there we'll pass it over. Or am I Curtis or Jessica? Who's going next? Did we figure this out? Curtis? Okay, we'll pass it over to Curtis, and we'll pass it over to Jessica or whoever else. So, okay, Curtis, we'll pass it over to you. Let's give a nice warm welcome to Curtis. Curtis, when you're ready, go right ahead.
Hello, everybody. My name is Curtis. I'm from actually Texas, where it's really cold over here now. It's like a lot of snowstorms and a lot of ice on the roads, and I wanted to go in. There's so much beautiful mothers here, really beautiful feminine energy. And then Brendon also talked about the masculine energy, the father figure energy that I wanted to kind of touch on, because me personally, I hardly ever work with kids. For some reason, I love kids. I love the energy. I'm like a kid myself, but I'm like, I feel like I can learn with kids. I'm always like in the mix with them. And I'm also really interested in gardening and regenerative agriculture, which is called permaculture, like you say, permanent culture. And I really want to get everybody on that train, to be self-sufficient, regenerative to the land. And it's kind of funny because, I talk about how I don't have really any experience with kids, but I love kids. But and I'm gonna say this: I have never planted or grown anything in my life. And I talk about gardening. I talk about all this awesome stuff about permaculture, and I've never done that in my life. And I feel like, but I'm super interested. I know like all the steps. I know everything. I'm like super nerdy about it. But I feel like that's like something that I'm gonna be doing for the rest of my life. And I feel like I'm gonna be a kid doing that for the rest of my life. And I want to also talking about a masculine father figure energy in terms of what Brendon was talking about in terms of going and facing challenges and not being afraid to fail. I really, because there's a big path that we're going down in our humanity, and there's, for me, it's really, really touching. Like Brendon even was going off on the internet about it. I feel like there's this feeling. You feel this tearing away from nature, this tearing away from what nature brings us, and it feels like it's just manifesting every day, like with the whole pandemic, and we feel like we're separating ourselves from what is really going to fulfill us for the rest of our lives, create generational wealth. And that is, for me, it's farming, it's growing food. And that's something that we can also teach our kids about, because, those things we can learn from. We can learn through the process of starting our own garden and going through the failures and learning about what's going to work and what nature. And I wanted to go in because it's really cold here. There's a lot of awful things happening in Texas, with the weather. People are starting to fear. It's like being scared of the weather. And I want to really take in the point is that we need to be focused on observing. We can't just react to everything. We want to observe. We really want to put ourselves in an observation point. Just like even we're all kids here at that point, because some of us are really been through a lot, and we're kids ourselves. And that point of not really fearing, I think someone touched on it a second ago about not fearing, but allowing to observe and sit back and really go through certain things on our own to grow. And I'm kind of, and I wanted to play a little lullaby song because we're at the closing out, and I have something that is in my heart. It's called the Atlantean Lullaby. And I really want to play that just for a moment and then talk about that for just a second. So I'm going to play that. It's really short. It's really easy.
Beautiful. Let's go for it. Go for it, Curtis. And let's all just kind of, like drop into that inner child within our heart and just kind of like imagine Curtis is just kind of playing us a lullaby as we
the life
relax.
Lessons we've learned through lifetimes. It's just something like that. It's a weird something that it's like a pattern, and I feel like I call it the Atlantean lullaby because for me I feel like there's a message. Because think of the Atlantean civilization. It was very powerful, big and advanced, and there was beautiful people there that, you know, gave hope to kids, and there was a whole like movement that wasn't yet there to, you know, move on past it. And we probably have some of those in us, you know, with the indigo children, crystalline children, and the rainbow children, all those beings that never got a chance to like fulfill their destiny. We are them still. And I want to really promote that idea of, you know, we have such a great abundance around us, that we are here in nature, and I really want us to try to connect to that. That's really much all I guess I have to say.
That's awesome. Well, it's awesome, Curtis. Again, you know, I think that's such a beautiful thing about, you know, talking about raising children is the importance of being able to make sure that we're keeping them connected with nature, and how important that is, and again, how much that just nurtures their spirit and allows them to really just experience that energy for themselves firsthand. So it's so important. And
yeah, it's a really good tool to learn, you know. And it's nature's a really great teacher. I mean, you know, it gives us a chance to kind of breathe for a second, and I feel like people are lacking that maybe we need that to make it easier on all of us.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure a lot of us here probably grew up in similar ways, where much of our time was spent out in nature, was, you know, spent like running through the forest and climbing trees and things like that. Like nature was our babysitter, like essentially, right? So no, and again, it's obvious that in today's day and age, a lot of kids, they don't get as much of it anymore. So again, you know, I think just knowing how important that is for us to just make sure that we're consciously bringing that in some way or another. So Curtis, thank you again. That was a beautiful lullaby. I really felt like some beautiful heart twangs there. And we'll keep things moving along here. And one thing I'd just like to be able to just put into the minds of everyone as we move forward here, really just kind of allow yourself to like drop into the consciousness of the children, and kind of like allow yourself to speak through them, speak on behalf of them, in terms of like, what do they need from us? Like literally, like what, like imagine like we're asking them, what do you need from us? Like, what can we do as parents, as adults? What can we do for you? And then allow that answer to kind of like arrive like from like the child within your heart. What do they need from us being the adults and them being the children? So because again, you know, that's the whole point of us having this discussion, is that by the end of it, I hope we as a community can kind of dial in to be able to say like, okay, like here's what's needed, and let's do more of that. So Jessica, thumbs up. We'll pass it over to you. And then who wants to go after Jessica? Kristen. And then after that, we've got Jennifer and Maureen. So if you guys want to figure out any order there. And then at that point, we've gone through everyone. And then we'll just get into some popcorn style. So Jessica, passing it over to you. Let's give a nice warm welcome to Jessica. And Jessica, go ahead. Please feel free to share your experience of the wisdom of raising children.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I guess kind of what I want to share more is like the process of how I became a mom. Yeah, it's interesting to hear other people's, like, I was like married for like a year, and I didn't feel quite ready. And then I went out on a vision quest, and oh wait, can you hear me? No, okay, I'm good. All right. Anyways, so I went out on this like 3-day vision quest where you're essentially alone in nature. Like, you know, you're fasting. That's how you kind of induce the vision. And while I was out there, you know, you have lots of experiences with nature. See different animals, you notice the way the wind blows, you're out there, like, you're not really even bringing like a book, you know, maybe a journal, but the point is just to be there with yourself. And after that, you kind of come back, there's a group of us, and we come back and we share our stories out there. And then the facilitator kind of reads your vision, and he basically looked to me and said, "Oh, you're ready to have kids." And I was like, "Oh, no, I'm not." So I kind of pushed that off. And then like a year after that, I found myself at Burning Man. And I was in this camp where you deliver messages to other camps. So someone comes from one, they said, "I want this message delivered." It's just a kitschy thing they do. So I was riding my bike, delivering a message, and I don't even remember the camp, but they were giving a talk on the 5 love languages. And the person I was supposed to deliver a message to was not there. But I sat down to have a talk or just listen, because that's just what you do. And this little baby comes and he's like, must have been like 8 or 9 months old, like in a diaper at Burning Man, and like crawls up on my lap and was just like, and this was like almost a year to the day that I'd been out on Vision Quest. And it was that moment that I looked at it, I was like, oh, I'm ready. I'm not meant to be here. I'm ready to be a mom. And so I went back home to my husband, and and then almost a year later to the day my daughter was born. So I like listening to this, other people sharing their stories, of they didn't think they could have a baby. There's this arc of having children within your life that, is that spiritual wisdom that comes to you. Because when my daughter was born, she cried all the time. I could literally not put her down without her screaming. And it was really hard. Early parenthood is really hard. There's a reason that sleep deprivation is used as torture. But it's always the cliche. It's extremely rewarding, but it can be really lonely. But through that process, working through those hard times and being with my husband, we've surfaced a lot of you surface your own trauma, and you get to a point where you get to make that choice. You get to choose, am I going to address this, or am I just going to continue, doing maybe what's been done to me, kind of continue that legacy. So you are given a choice. And I didn't make it right away. It took a few years. It took another kid, and it took some other stuff and moving. But I got there eventually, and I can look back now and see how the process of what I've gone through is helping me to be a better parent now. And then through them, they're helping me to be a better person, and just learning how to be present in every moment. Learning how to connect with creativity and play. But it's such a big thing that I'm like kind of grasping for words. I think mostly what I pick up from my kids, with parenthood, is they want your presence. And there's so many things you can do to help support them in so many different ways that's right for them. And we try so hard as parents to do that. But I think as long as you're present, that makes a huge impact. That alone, that you choose to spend time with them, you choose to give them your attention, that choice that you make every day to work on yourself, and it helps negate those mistakes. Like, we all make the mistakes. And I liked what Leeza talked about, because I really try to do that too. Is now when I make a mistake, I try not to let the power dynamic come in, because as a parent, you're always playing this power game of you're a leader to them, and you are their boundaries. When they're really young, you are their boundaries. They don't quite know that space, and they're learning that. So you have to be that role, but then at the same time, they're people, and you're trying to give that respect to their soul as this entire being. So, I try to own up to the mistakes I make, and I'm trying to instill that early on. And I definitely just agree with the sentiments of getting out into nature. My kids are lucky enough to go to an outdoor school right now. But I know in North America, there are things that are called free nature school. They can be found online, and they have them all over the States. And we used to do that before my kids were school age, and parents would meet up, several times a week, and spend 2 hours, or more. Kids would go and fall asleep and take their naps outside. There's a really grounding experience in falling asleep outside, and I still try to do that with them when we can. So, yeah, parenthood is amazing, and it is the hardest thing ever too. And I appreciate when people are willing to also talk about that space. And just like one more thought is beyond the presence to the heart. I'm finding the hardest thing. Well, the presence is not the hard thing. That's what they need from us, but the letting go. Every age they grow, they need a little bit of us to let go, and that's going to be my hardest lesson, because it's through letting go that you show them that love. So
It's beautiful, beautifully said, Jessica. Thank you so much. To give just sending some love to Jessica, and it's so wonderful. So awesome. Again, I know there's obviously a lot more to speak about, and we'll just keep the talking stick moving along for now. I just want to take a quick moment to just acknowledge the fact that the audio was a little bit choppy for about the past 10 minutes. We did just fix it. If that ever happens again, those of you in the YouTube comments, go ahead and just let me know ASAP. And for those of you who continued listening through the audio choppiness, bonus points to you. You're like super dedicated and obviously here to be able to make it through even the little technical hiccups there. But yeah, it should be fine now. So I appreciate everybody just being flexible with the fact that sometimes I don't even know why it did that, but I'm glad I was able to fix it right away. So okay, let's keep things moving along here. So okay, just Kristen, did you want to go next? Because I know we still got a few other people that want to be able to go as well. Who wants to who's going next? Give me a big old thumbs up. Pass over to Kristen. Okay, all right, we'll pass over to Kristen, and then we'll just keep things moving along here. We'll keep an eye on the time. We'll see where we're at by about in a half hour from now, and then we'll get close to wrapping it up if we can, even within the half hour. So Kristen, when you're ready, pass it over to you. Let's give a nice warm welcome to Kristen.
Hello, beautiful souls. It's so lovely to see each and every one of you, and what a blessing to hear all of the divine mothers speaking on their beautiful wisdom and the experiences that you all have been able to have, and just to share that with you is absolutely magical. So I just wanted to give a huge thank you to you all. Oh,
Sorry, go ahead, Kristen. Yeah, you're fine. That was my feedback coming through. So you're good. Go ahead. Sorry. Psych.
ready though. No, I love this topic. I'm so grateful. It's so inspiring to be able to see all of the parents, both mother and father, being able to see you guys just working through life right now, and all of the challenges that we have, and being able to be open about spirituality, and giving them the opportunities to think for themselves. I don't have the blessing of being a mom, but I have had a very unique experience of being a guardian to a very special girl in my life. And she came into my life when she was 3 years old, and she's turning 15 now. So it has been a really beautiful ride to be able to share with her, and just being able to really be a light in her life whenever she grew up in a place of a lot of trauma and a lot of pain. And so for me, being able to provide a safe space for her to just be able to be a kid and experience life that does not involve the weight of adulthood, but being able to have a safe space to be able to talk about the things that adults do concern themselves with. Because we find kids are very observant. They hear what's going on, they see what's going on, and being able to provide a space for them to be able to feel what they need to feel, or say what they need to say, or even just explore their own emotions or thoughts around a situation that might be difficult for their parents or for people around them. And just being able to provide a safe space for them to be themselves and to express themselves at each step of their age. It's like Jessica was saying, as they grow, it really is showing them love, being able to let go a little. And I will tell you, like, I want to say it was her 11th birthday where she decided she was 16 for sure. Like, she had that mentality of, I am a 16-year-old, you will respect me, everything I say is truth, I know exactly what I want to be and where I'm going in life, and nobody is going to tell me otherwise. And being able to hold space for her in that, in a healthy way, of being like, that's awesome, let's hear what you have to say, let's be yourself, like, express it. And then even to give her the space to change her mind 2 days later when she decided, oh, maybe that outfit really wasn't like my true expression. But just giving them the space to be whatever they need to be each day. And also I think one of the really important things that I got to experience with her was just um, encouraging her to speak on her thoughts and feelings and expressing different outlets for her to try to learn, not just having it be the same routine all the time, but saying, hey, why don't we try something new today? You might end up liking it if you give it a try, or even just introducing her to different things, to expand her mind and allow her to find different ways to express herself. Because a lot of the times as a kid, it's easy to say, well, what do you want to do? But maybe they don't know what they want to do if they haven't tried all the things. And so just really providing those spaces is super special and super important. But I can only imagine the depth of having your own child, and I'm so grateful for the beautiful blessings that children are in general. And I have so much respect and honor for those of you that hold these spaces for the children and encourage them to speak for themselves and allow them to play and have fun and just be children and find that joy, because they really do teach us so much just by being themselves. And the respect that we can give them is life changing for them, to know that their voice matters, to know that their opinions matter, and that they even have the ability to just be is super, super powerful. So yeah, thank you all so much.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Kristen. Man, I can't help but just kind of like think, do you guys remember that show, Kids Say the Darnest Things? Do you guys remember that show? Wasn't that a great show? Can we bring that back? And just kind of like even put like a spiritual twist on it? Like, kids say the most metaphysical things. Like, I don't know if anybody's got any ideas off the top of their head, but like, for those of us who have been around kids, have you ever had those moments where like the kid will just say something like so profound and you're just like, what? Like, what did you just say? Like, that's like some next level metaphysical knowledge and wisdom. You little eternal being, you. Like, look at you. So yeah, no, please, like, if you're around kids and they say stuff like that, like, write it down, like, document that and stuff, and we'll scribe it into a book, and create some sort of like that'll be like a roadmap to the future or something like that. It's like the future is told through the wisdom of children. So okay, all right, let's keep things passing along here. So just give me a quick heads up, who wanted to be able to go next? We still have Maureen, and then we have Jennifer as well. Okay, so we'll pass over to Maureen next, and then Jennifer, we can pass over to you, and then from there again we'll just get into more freestyle discussion. So Maureen, when you are ready, welcoming Maureen, passing it over to you, and please go ahead and share from your heart about the spiritual wisdom of raising children. Welcome.
Hi, hello, everybody. Hi, I love you guys so much. So I have a 3-year-old. She just turned 3, and she was definitely a surprise. I did not think I was ready at all, and I struggled my first 2 years with her. I was really angry and like fighting the process, and like I felt like I didn't get to decide what I wanted to do for some reason. I don't know. I was very confused, and it like took her like giving me glances back and stuff for me to be like, oh my goodness, you're gonna interact with me and you're gonna soak this up and you're gonna repeat what I do. And it sent me on this journey of like bettering myself. And then she got like really big, really heavy, really fast. And like she's like 42 pounds right now. So she's the size of a 5-year-old, for those of you who can't figure out like how big she should be. She's huge. So like it hurt my back and stuff. So I ended up going into like physical training, which is like what I'm loving to do right now. And it led me into like meditation. So she has been like a super guide for me. And Brendon, I know I've told you this before, is she used to say to me, let's go team, let's go, all the time. And then I hit one of my first meditations and Brendon was like, yeah, let's go team. And I almost cried. Like it just hit me so hard. I was like, this is where I should be. This community is great. Like, and she's such a great guide for me. And then like when I started to like back down from it and get insecure about doing it, she started becoming obsessed with Spider-Man, like out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, okay. So again, she's like leading me. And every time she does something, I learn from her. It's what it is every time. And even like, even if I used to get upset a lot and she would like look at me and be like, Mom, why so mad? Even if you're just like the ugh, you know, because that's what we do. We go ugh, not like you're upset, like yelling, but just like the ugh. She's like, why? Why are you even getting exasperated? Like, why is this even an issue? It's so small. It's not even worth your time. And you're just like, oh, I remember now. That's right. And then she opens me to doing art and creativity, and you know, every day is another realization with her. Things like fear is not innate. We are taught fear and how that affects our society. I realized this one day when she went bolting across the street in the middle of a parking lot, and I almost died. I screamed, I jumped, I cursed, like everything came out of me. And for a minute there I was like, "Oh my god, I just instilled fear into her on purpose. I willingly did this to my daughter." And it was because I was afraid, because she didn't know and I didn't understand how to set that boundary without fear. I didn't I didn't have that yet. And so that was a real awakening like moment for me. I was like, "Oh man, this is not the way to teach. Like you can't teach from your fears. Like that's not how it's going to work." And yeah, it's just been a really really great process with her. She says crazy things all the time. So, I don't know. I had something else and now I can't think of it because I'm so excited to be here.
There's
I
yeah
don't know.
there's always more to share.
There's
We can go
always
back,
more.
we can go back to it and stuff. And I mean, yeah, you already kind of talked about it. It'd be like the things that she's taught you. If there's anything there that you want to expand upon, but no, I think you what you said is beautiful. And again, you know, just really echoing that, like, kids inspire us to be better versions of ourselves. You know,
And
go
switching
ahead,
up the
Maureen. Yeah, yeah,
roles.
very
Switching
much
up the
so.
roles.
Yeah.
Getting out of your mind
Mm.
and your structures and stop thinking that everything you've thought and you've built in your mind is correct or the right way, and even just come up with new solutions to things. Like she would be like, up mom, and I was exasperated. I was like, kid, I cannot pick you up anymore. So I was like, okay, mommy comes down. So then we learned mommy down, mommy down. So mommy now crouches down for a hug, because she wasn't looking for me to pick her up. She was looking for a hug and for love. And so we took that thing that was really driving me insane and switched it within milliseconds, and our whole day turned around.
That's a great example. Yeah, like kids are like the ultimate paradigm shifters. I feel in a lot of ways, right? You're constantly like teaching us how to be able to adapt. I'll just share a quick little story here, and maybe it might be something to be able to inspire you guys as well. So on the over the past weekend, when I was spending time with Lacey and her young boy, and we were having like a picnic like in the living room, right? Like we were like, oh, okay, like we could sit and watch TV or we could sit at the table, but let's just like put the blanket on the floor and just have a picnic in the living room, right? We were kind of doing this and we were kind of eating and stuff like that, and then it was fun, and then eventually we were just sitting there, and we started playing like we started playing like rock paper scissors, and then we started just like making up our own version of rock paper scissors, and then we basically created this new game. I had never played it before, but it made sense in the moment, and it was basically called like rock paper scissors anything. So basically the whole idea is that you do rock paper scissors, but then you choose an object that's anything, like literally anything, and then at that point you just have to justify what it is, and then you like figure out as a team what beats what. So there's like three of us, so it'd be like, you know, it'd be like rock paper, and then it'd be like tank, and then it'd be like dinosaur, and then it'd be like, and then it was like one, I chose this, and then it was like asteroid and stuff like that. I'd be like, ooh, okay, like I think the asteroid wins on that one, and then it would get like into like really abstract ideas too. And then her boy, one of the ones that he said, and oh man, like if he's listening right now, or if Lacey, you're listening right now, like I love you guys both so much, and yeah, but anyways, I get excited talking about it. It lights me up. But one of the things that he said, which I thought was, again, it's like you're listening, you're like, man, this kid's so smart, right? Was we were doing it, and then he said wind, and then it was like, ooh, like wind, like ooh, that's a good one, right? And then I had to get and then I got really morbid once, and then I was like, time, like I'm like, time beats everything, and then it was like, oh my god, like I guess that's true, right? So yeah, more or less. But yeah, if you guys want to play rock paper scissors anything, then go ahead and do that and use it as like, again, it's like a creative exercise where you're just kind of getting them thinking outside the box, and that was really fun. And then another thing that we did that day, we literally like we went to the nearby park, and there were some balls on the ground, and we were playing tag, and it started off as regular tag, and then eventually it basically just became like Minecraft zombie tag. Like that's basically what it just became. Like where like I was like the zombie in Minecraft, and then like they were like playing around, and they were running from like bases and different things, and they were like mining resources and stuff, and we were just making up the rules as we went along. And then I was holding two balls underneath my arms, and the balls were like my like hit points. So if I like drop a ball, then I would like have, you know, but then I would get faster if I like lost my hit points. And I'm like being, and again, you know, I'm making noises, and I'm being like a zombie and stuff like that. Like, and that's, kids love that, right? Kids love when you like make noises and you get silly and you play with them. And honestly, again, you know, for me, I think a lot of when I just kind of, and this is just me just like doing this naturally, right? Like no one, like it's funny, it's like did like who taught me how to do this? But you know, like I think in a lot of ways, like I'm just kind of doing in a lot of ways like what my parents did for me, you know, sort of thing. And like and I think back to the times where my dad would put on like silly voices and make funny noises and be scary monsters and things like that. And then for me, it's just kind of like, oh, like that's what I'm doing too. It's just kind of like a ripple effect of that. And then and then again, you know, just here I'm just gushing. I hope this is just kind of like opening up your guys' hearts, because it's like, again, this is like kind of like a new part of my journey, and honestly, I'm happy to be able to share it. It excites me up. But the other thing that was really neat, and I love doing this, is bedtime stories with the kids, and like reading, and I love the fact if you make that habit where it's like, okay, like pick a book before bed, like pick 2 books, pick 3 books, and then we'll read through those books, and they probably read them before a few times. Like that's kind of the thing, how it works, right? But then again, you know, you put on like the voices and stuff like that, and that's where for me that was really fun, where I was getting to read, we were reading like a Franklin book. Like, you guys remember like Franklin the Turtle? And then like here I was like reading it, and I was like putting like the different voices on it and stuff like that. And just like making all the characters sound different and everything. And it was just, again, you know, it's just like, here you are, you're doing it for the kid. You're creating an experience. You're creating a meaningful moment, something to be able to create memories, to help them feel safe and comfortable and loved and supported and inspired. And then in turn, what's also happening is that you're getting to meet a part of yourself. You're getting to meet a part of yourself where you kind of like show up in that moment, and you're just like, oh, like that's a part of me. Like that's a part of me, like in this mentorship role, in this leadership role. And it's really cool because it's, you know, as adults, it's like we think that it's like we get older, it's like, oh, I know who I am, and then we feel as if we almost become like stagnant. But then once you bring a kid into your reality, things begin to open up even more, and they really just kind of like blossom into this new layer of who you are. And that's where I think, again, you know, being a guardian or a role model for kids is just such a powerful catalyst. And I really encourage people, you know, given the opportunity, I hope all of us have that opportunity to be able to learn more about themselves through being able to help be mentors for children as well. And yeah, it's beautiful to be able to on a spiritual level really like see this child as an equal, as a soul that just happens to be in a child's body currently. But when you like really like look at them, it's just like, damn, like you're an old soul, like just like me. And it's crazy because again, you know, you get into this dynamic of soul families, and it's just like, who's to say that in a past life like they weren't the father and I was the child, or maybe, you know, there's some other dynamic, and then like this lifetime it kind of switches around or something like that. And yeah, and to really just be able to like see the world through the magic that they see it through. And yeah, it just really it just opens my heart, and I'm so excited to be able to explore more of that. And yeah, that's all I'll share for now. So okay, Daddy Brendon. Anyways, all right, let's keep things moving along here. Jennifer, would you like to go next? We'll pass it over to you. And Jennifer, if you could just tilt your camera down just a little bit so we can frame it up there, and then we'll pass it over to you. So Jennifer, welcome back. It's been a couple weeks, I guess, a little while. It's wonderful to be able to have you here. I know I saw you mention before that you were specifically called to be on for this episode. So Jennifer, welcoming you on, and please feel free to go ahead and share a little bit of the spiritual wisdom of raising children from your perspective. Welcome, Jennifer.
I am Jennifer. A lot of people call me Mama J. I'm really grateful to be here again. I was called to be here. I had a dream with Brendon and um, Kristen and Lacey in my dream, and it was pretty cool. And I just knew the next day it was just a really, really awesome. I don't even want to call it a dream because it just was like another experience. Um, I have okay, so I'm going to start out. I don't want to trigger warning or anything for any of the young ones, but I had a traumatic childhood, and I have had to work through that a lot, and done a lot of shadow work. But I will tell you that before I was 1 years old, I mean, I've always had magical experiences, and my parents were fighting in the other room, and I crawled down out of my high chair. But before I did, I remember, hearing the yelling, and then I was shown this film strip in my head, like an old timey movie film strip in my head, and I was comforted. And at that moment, that's when I had the knowing of someone was there helping me, guiding me every step of the way, and everything that I was experiencing, I wasn't alone. And fast forward, I went to a private Christian school for until 7th grade, and my parents were divorced eventually, and I was told by my teacher in 1st grade that we could ask God for anything and that he would give it to us. And I believed my teacher because she was the nicest person I knew. She was just awesome. And I remember feeling really, really sick in my stomach one day, and I went to the bathroom, and I said, okay, if what she's saying is true, if that's true, then this person that I'm talking to in my head and have been since I can remember, can you help me make my stomach ache go away? And instantly my stomach ache went away. And I knew from that moment, at least, that someone was listening to me every time that I had said something, or, anyway. So fast forward again, I have 4 children, and my first son was born in 1993. And when he was 3 years old, I was told that I couldn't have any more children. And I intentionally became a parent because my husband and I were abused as children, and we found each other, and we found that connection in each other, that we really intentionally wanted to be parents, and we wanted to raise our children differently than we were raised. And so I would spend every single night with my son in his room, reading to him and telling him stories. And at that point in my life, I was really a devout Christian in the church. And I one day told him about that, that what happened to me when I was in 1st grade. And I said, you can't wish for something that's not, you can't just wish to win the lottery or something. You have to have it from your heart. You have to have it benefit you and other people. And you have to make it with good intentions. And, the kind of language you would use to talk to a 3-year-old, that's what I did. But I basically told him that he could have anything he wanted. He could ask for anything and he would get it. And like I said, I had been told that I couldn't have children anymore, and I had PCOS. It used to be called something different, but I couldn't have children. And he asked, he didn't say anything more about it. And then a couple weeks later, he ran into my room early in the morning, and he said, mommy, I know what I'm going to wish for. I know what I'm going to ask for. And I was like, yeah, what? Thinking it was going to be, I don't know, a bike or something, a little kid would ask for. He said, I want a baby sister. I want a baby sister, and she's going to be a princess, and she's going to have blonde hair and blue eyes. And that's what I want to wish for. And I almost cried because I myself didn't really believe in my adult life what I had told him. I did, but I didn't ever act on it. I guess I was using the law of attraction and manifestation for different purposes before I even knew what they were. It was a long time ago. And so when he said that, I almost wanted to say, well, mommy can't have children, but I didn't. And I just like kept that inside. And I was just like, okay, well, this will play out however it plays out. And it caused me to reevaluate how I wanted to teach him and all these things. So, but anyway, believe it or not, within 2 months, I was pregnant with my daughter, Carley. We went to the ultrasound, and I said, well, sweetie, it could be a boy. He went with us. He was 5 at the time. He was when she was born. So I guess he was about 4 then. I said, it could be a little boy. He goes, no, mommy, I asked for a little girl, and she's going to have blonde hair and blue eyes, and she's going to be a princess. And she's a girl, blonde hair, blue eyes, princess. That's her nickname. And I was able to have 2 more children after that, two more girls. They're all adult children now. I have a 27-year-old, that's my son, and then 22, my daughter Carley, and then 18 and 17. And when I say that I was intentional about being a parent, I wanted to do everything different than my parents did, from racism, from, telling me that I was, shaming me and making me fearful, and telling me what to believe, what to do, what not to do, what was good, what was bad, and about like real, like things that I don't think are good and bad right now. It's just like they had different beliefs. And so I sorry. So I was very intentional about that. I wanted my children to be able to experience life differently than I did, and be able to express themselves. I was never able to express myself. I spent a long time being able to clear my throat chakra, and when I did finally do that, a lot of issues came up with that. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little flustered. They taught me, even though I wanted to be this perfect parent, they taught me that everyone is different. And just because I was the parent that I wanted as a child, they were different, and each one of them were different. And it's a big responsibility to bring another soul into this world. And I would say, before anybody does have children, if you haven't worked on yourself, if you are just wanting that love, just to have something to love and to love you back, that was me. That was what I wanted. I just wanted to do it the right way. And there is no right way. It's the right way is love. And if you love your children and give your children time and let them be heard, and try to do all those things that you would want done to you. So fast forward to their teenage years. It was a lot easier to do that when they were children. I was also a parent-child development teacher for the city here. And I would teach the parents how to play with their children. I don't think I ever grew up. I mean, like, I think the most I'm grown up is when I'm talking to people on lives and stuff, because they're not like right in front of me. But like, when I let go, I'm way cooler than right now, I'm sure. But, anyway, I was the cool mom. I was the one that they wanted to bring their friends over and talk to them. And because I would talk to them like I was their age, I wouldn't put a boundary up. They could tell me anything. I would be there. I would give them my advice, but I wouldn't judge them for it. That turns out that even though I wanted that as a child, one of my children craved a mom who did have that control. And then, when I was a teenager, I wasn't allowed to go anywhere after school, wasn't allowed to go to parties, I wasn't allowed to, I had to come home right after school. I wasn't allowed to talk on the phone and just like all these things. And I just wanted my children to have freedom. And I gave them that freedom. And there definitely needs to be boundaries in that. And when I say that, I used to think that I would let them have free will and I would let them choose what they did. But there definitely is a needs to be boundaries, because I would want someone that knew more than I do at that time. I would want them to guide me and show me a path without being overbearing. So there is a balance in between. I think I was raised a certain way, so I went the opposite way with my children. And like I said, they're all different. So, while one would thrived on that and thrived on the magic and the light and everything, then there's, another one of my children that wanted that that hands-on mom that was very disciplined in everything that they did, and was like very involved. And I mean, I was involved. I was like PTA mom. I was like all that, but I mean, like in their personal lives, very involved in telling them what to do and what not to do, and giving them that structure and not allowing them to choose. And so it doesn't matter how much you think you're going to do it right, or it just, if it comes from a place of love, that's what they need. They need to be loved, and they need to be understood and respected. My children are very, very, very open with me, and I'm blessed to have 3 adorable grandchildren now who I love to play with, who I talk on the phone with, do FaceTime with every single day. My little Paisley, she's 2.5, and then I have Lila, she's 5 months, and Levi is 7. And the 2 little ones do, Ava, play Play-Doh. They call me Ava because at the time I had my first grandson, I told him I was too young to be called grandma. So it was Ava, because that's grandma in a different language. Anyway, we play Play-Doh. We play all kinds of, I love to play with them. And I'm so happy that I get to have children in my life, because they're such a gift. And I believe that they're more advanced than we are. I believe that they are, like you were saying, our parents or our, but I feel like I don't know, it's just every generation I feel like is a little bit smarter, a little bit brighter, a little bit more in tune with who they are as a spirit and not as a physical being. The more they believe in magic, they believe in the fun and wonder. And if you keep that alive in them, if you keep feeding that and not, I always have to tell myself I can't say to be careful, because so I tell my 17-year-old daughter, bubble up. And she goes out, and because I had to learn that was making her fearful when I would say be careful. I know that she's going to use her best judgment. I know that I have been open with them enough to where they are wise enough to make their own choices. And I'm so proud of my daughter for the mother that she is. It definitely is a selfless act. It is service to others and not service to self. And the more that I studied and read about um, about like the law of one, and how that we are a the mind body spirit complex, and that we have a uh, like a social memory complex. So I see my reflection in each one of them differently. So trust and believe that if you haven't dealt with any of your shadow work, your children will be there at one point in their life to show you that you have not addressed that part of yourself. And I'm grateful. I really, really am grateful. I'm grateful to be a mom. I'm grateful to be a part of my children's life, and all the students that I've taught. And I love being a mom. And I just hope that everyone takes it seriously, because it is karma. It's karma. Like, everything that you're doing is a karmic action. To me, this is what I believe. And because I can see it, I can see that it's my reflection. I can see that each one of them is teaching me something different. And whether you think you're right, it's always going to be something that you have to rethink, because it's from someone else's perspective. So I wanted to say, if anyone's read the Celestine Prophecy, I used to channel these messages and had no idea where they came from. And one of my clients had told me that that it sounded just like this book. So when you have two parents that are, so you have like an interrogator, interrogative parent, or inquisitive, I don't know, it's something like that. I can't think when I'm staring at a camera, I don't know why. But when you're inquisitive, then you raise an aloof child. When you have a intimidator parent, then you usually end up with a poor me child. And it's like a victim paradigm, because you're set that paradigm. So when you can figure out the dynamic that your parents are, if they were, what type of parent they are, it gives you more insight on who you are, or who you were raised as, and why you might have the certain tendencies to do certain things, and just balance and everything. I know I rambled, but balance, balance, balance. And bless you all for being the wonderful mothers that you are, because I know how hard it is. I think I did have PTSD when I visited my daughter last time, because she was sick for a whole day. So I'm having a 5-month-old and a 2-year-old running around, and I'm 46. So it's just like, oh my gosh, but like, it was a lot. And then getting the dinner, and she has 3 huskies and 2 cats, and it was crazy. But I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. And thank you for letting me share.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jessica, so much. And Jessica, can you just remind us, what's the Instagram social media handle that people can find you on? If
It's
you're
Jennifer.
Sorry,
That's okay. It's Enlightenment
Jennifer,
Effects.
Right. Yeah, okay, so go ahead.
It's Enlightenment Effects. I don't post that much, but I'm really trying. I'm working on content. I just haven't put it out there yet.
Perfect. Okay, Jennifer, we'll put that into the show notes as well. So if anybody wanted to be able to reach out to Jennifer, they can do that as well. So that's beautiful. And again, I love just being able to listen to you share, and congratulations on the grandchildren, and what a marvelous journey. And so much of what you said really just resonated. And again, like, seriously, like mums, like, you're the real superheroes. Like, the stuff that you guys do, like, because I've seen it firsthand, like, I even just, like Lacey inspires me, like, as a mother and stuff like that. But again, that's just from my personal ability of being able to see that. But I know all the other mothers, like, the fact that it's one of those things where it's like, you'll do whatever it takes. And even if that means, like putting your self-care, like that's like that, sometimes it has to put it on the back burner. and you're just go feeding babies, walking dogs, doing chores, doing this, and honestly, like that's where, like for me, like a big part of like my inspiration to like want to be able to like show up and like service of the sacred feminine is just like, here, like let me help you carry that, right? Like I know you will literally carry this on your own because you're so gosh darn strong and you're so resilient and you're so incredibly powerful. But you know, like my gift to you as like the sacred masculine is to be able to help carry that so that you can rest, because you know, give yourself that time for that self-care and give yourself that time to be able to, you know, like focus on the things that really serve your soul in terms of like your personal creativity, your expressions, your art and everything like that. So again, you know, like that's where like it's amazing to see how capable mothers are on their own, and again, you know, when we and both fathers on their own as well, but you know, to have not only just two people raising children, but to also be able to have, you know, like a community, like a village to be able to raise children. Like I love that model of kind of like envisioning even just back in the day, you know, like even just back with like our ancestors, where that would be the thing, right? Like the community would raise the children, and you would have the elders and you would have the adolescents kind of like raising everyone together. I think there's so much wisdom there, and again, I'd love to just be able to kind of like see how that can be brought forth into the modern age. So we'll keep an eye on the time here, team. I know there's definitely a lot more to share, and some people have only spoken once on the mic so far. So I just want to be able to just kind of like open things up and just allow each other to just be able to respond. And I'm just going to kind of like step back. And at this point, just allowing anybody who feels called to share, you know, what other spiritual wisdom related to raising children do we need to share? And even going back to that original question I asked, what do they need from us? You know, so I know we have answered that, but if anybody wants to explicitly dive into that one a little bit more as well. So let me just get like a few hands here. So Amanda, we got your hand up. Becca, we got your hand up. So, and Curtis, you got your hand up. Okay, we'll pass it over to Amanda, and then we'll go to Becca and then Curtis. So Amanda, go right ahead. And like I said, like I think let's aim to wrap this up. I would say within like 20 minutes, we'll see where we're at by then. So Amanda, when you're ready, go right ahead.
Okay, I'll try to go quick because I took some notes while everyone was talking. I actually had 13 miscarriages before I was pregnant with Daniel. So Daniel's my rainbow baby. Anna's my unicorn baby because she came right after him. And both of those pregnancies nearly killed me. So if it happens again, it happens again. But I don't see it at this point. Honestly, both of them came when I needed them, not when I was ready for them, because I'd been trying for so long at that point, and I just stopped trying, and then suddenly Daniel's here. Anna, I've actually been teaching to not really any kind of fear-based anything, just to know her truth. So that not even really following her intuition, just understanding that what she knows to be true is the truth. What other people know to be true is their truth, and that's okay. But their truth does not negate her truth. And that's the important lesson that I've been trying to teach her so that she can navigate through all of the other interactions that she's going to have with people and be able to say, okay, well, that's how you see things, and that's fine. That's just not how my reality is. So you can believe what you want to believe. I'm going to believe what I want to believe, and we're just going to disagree on this, and that's all there is to it. Going back to the dreams, Anna, when she first started talking, she used to tell me about how she was waiting for so long to be born, and she was just waiting for her chance to be a part of the family. Yes, you can sleep in my room. Awesome. Like even going back to when we were watching Soul, she told me how accurate that movie was because she was literally just sitting and waiting to be able to come down and join the family. And she said that that space where she was waiting looked pretty much exactly like the movie, which was kind of crazy. As to what the kids need, they need to be heard, just like everybody. They need to be heard. They need to be seen. They need to be understood, and they need to be treated like people and not spoken down to. I've always spoken to my kids, I want to say like equals, but not really like equals, just like people. I've never used baby language with them. I use age appropriate language with them, but I've always had proper conversations with them, even when they were babies. I am in the middle of talking. Can you wait, please? Thank you. So it's always been that way. Like Daniel was too, when we had that conversation about how he wanted to have second breakfast, and I told him that we can't have second breakfast because he's not a hobbit. And he asked why he wasn't a hobbit, and I said, because we don't live in Hobbiton. And he said, oh, and that made complete sense to him. And then he didn't want second breakfast anymore. Those are the conversations that we have all the time. It's always been that way. I've always taught them respect. I've always shown them respect. And as you guys saw earlier, they're both brutally honest. I'm not always the best mom. That's okay. We're okay with that. I apologize when I need to. They apologize when they need to. And we're learning how to interact with each other together. And that's what parenting's all about, basically. But I will stop my little speech here and I will let someone else talk.
Wonderful. Thank you, Amanda. Okay, we'll keep things moving along here. We'll pass it over to Becca. We'll pass it over to Becca next. Becca, go right ahead when you're ready.
I just want to say bye to Kirsten quick. I love you so much.
Oh, did Kristen just leave?
Yeah.
Did that happen? Okay, bye, Kristen. We love you.
Well, going off like what the other mothers said, when it comes to what I think about what kids need, the be all and end all of it is that they need unconditional love. And I think that a lot of parents have forgotten what that means. Even I did, it's just a new thing that has opened up to me now. Oh, when I say unconditional, I mean there's no limit. Even when it's changing our mindset to think that even when we're telling them off for something, like they've done something dangerous or something, that is still a form of love. Even when we feel upset with them for something and we're having to be harsh, it's still a form of love. Setting boundaries is still a form of love. Being present, listening, seeing them, letting them know that you're always there for them is all love, and it's unconditional no matter what. So we could really go around in circles saying all these different things, but it all comes down to it is that it's love. And that's it. That's all I had to say.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Becca. It's beautiful. Okay, Curtis, we'll pass over to you, and then who wants to go after Curtis? Again, I'd love to just be able to give everyone a chance to be able to share a few more times before we wrap it up. So who wants to go after Curtis? And pass over to Leeza. Okay, and then we'll keep going from there. So Curtis, when you're ready, go right ahead, dude.
Thanks. Man, it's so awesome to hear all these stories. I know my mom worked really hard. She actually lived, she got autoimmune problems. I don't know, from overworking. She lived her whole life with that, but she just took a big toll on her health, raising twins and another older son, three boys, and just every day more and more I realize how grateful I am to be here and have a mother, and also to look to my father to see where he fell short on some things, in terms of being that support system, picking up the slack, picking up where there's stuff, no one's perfect, and autumn, we just try to be, we really need to be there for each other. And I actually wanted to, y'all talked about having like dreams of like your kid, and I've actually had a dream of a girl, and I thought, it was a blonde girl, and I don't know, she was just like strong or something. Like it was really weird. It was really cute. Um, so I'm expecting to have a girl, but I don't know who is going to be the mother of this girl. And I also wanted to talk about, the village. I'm actually really, really interested in the whole idea. What Brendon's idea is talking about the village. I feel like that is the next step in terms of where we're going. Because when I mentioned earlier, we're disconnecting from nature, and we're in the point in our time where we have to figure out how to create some sort of system that is benefiting us and benefiting nature at the same time, because now we're in a system that is established not out of the kindness. These homes that were created, they weren't created for us to be sustainable. They were here to sustain people's pockets and money and all this stuff that kids don't need to be really influenced on. The way we run the system is not the way kids should ever be taught how to live. And the technology and all this stuff, I mean, now we can still use technology to our advantage. We use Zoom, we have all these great ideas, um, that we can utilize technology, and that's great. But I really do see something happening with the village, and I've seen it in my dreams and visions and stuff. But yeah, let's do this as parents of the next generation.
Absolutely, dude. And that's, again, like that's such a big part of what Paradigm Shift Central is about, and all of the other projects that are connected through this beautiful network of communities. Again, a big thing that kind of like a catchphrase that I use within Paradigm Shift is, stand for tomorrow today. And so again, 7 generations ahead, 7 generations back. Like, yeah, we're doing this to be able to help accelerate the shift in consciousness, but we're doing this for the next generations, for the generations that will continue to ripple on into the future in ways that are beyond our scope. And why? Because it's in our hearts, it's in our destiny, it's in our calling. I think all of us, we're here for a reason, and that reason is to be able to help alleviate suffering, and to be able to help create a world where our children and their children's children can live free with hope and optimism and creativity, and to experience all the beautiful magic and love and life that this reality has to offer. So it's so powerful. And again, this whole idea of like raising the spiritual wisdom of raising children, again, it's something where the children become adults, but the influence that we've had on them continues. And like I said, obviously we were all children, we were all raised once, and we want to be able to like raise children who continue to like respect their elders as they continue to become adults. And and that's where, for me, like, again, I as Curtis was saying, and others were saying here, perhaps when I was younger, I didn't fully see it, but just to like be able to grow up and to be able to look back and to really just be able to like directly express my gratitude for my parents, and just be like, thank you for the sacrifices that you made. Like the amount of love that you put in, the amount of times you drove me to hockey practice first thing in the morning, and you did this and you did that, and you always put yourself second after us, just to be able to raise us. Like, let me continue to pour that love back to you. And as our parents are getting older, I think it's natural for us as children to want to be able to still be there to nurture them in the same way we would hope that our children would be there to nurture us. So it's this powerful cyclical ecosystem of relationships that we're building. And so it begins, it where does it begin, right? But it continues through the way in which we help raise that generation with respect and with humility, and again with a good heart, and to really teach them what it means to be in that heart space. And so again, when we do the work, we without us even having to tell them, hey, do this to this. We just be us, and we just be in our heart space, and when we be gentle with ourselves, and we be the best version of who we can be. And they see that. Like, that's the thing. Kids are very observant, like very, very, very observant. And sometimes I think that we kind of don't think they see everything, but they do see everything. And so while doing it in a way that's very intentional and still authentic to who we are, again, it gives them an example to be able to live up to, and let us be an example of you know, what it means to be again, you know, a heart-centered adult, and let us be an example to be able to like show them what kindness and love looks like, so that they can continue to echo that model, because essentially, you know, like they will echo what they see, and so with that vision in mind, let us give them something to be able to again, you know, without, while still honoring the fact that, like we said, like we're still learning, we're still adults, we're not perfect, but yes, to be able to constantly have that highest intention to learn alongside the child, and they'll hold us accountable too, you know, even if they don't always verbally say it. I think it's up to us to hold ourselves accountable, but having that role of being in a position to be a mentor for a child is a powerful thing to be able to call us into our highest self. So it's a very, very powerful catalyst. Let's keep things passing along here. I love, again, we're gonna get this wrapped up, but I know this conversation could continue, and maybe it will be something that some of you might have this could be like a clubhouse discussion. You know, it really, really could. Zentia, I'm looking at you. So, anyways, speaking of which, Zentia, did you want to go next? Because we haven't heard from you in a while. And again, let's just kind of get into some closing thoughts, and then we'll get it wrapped up here before this accidentally becomes a 4-hour broadcast. So accidentally, right? It happens all the time. Zentia, I'll pass it over to you if you're ready. Go right ahead. Any additional wisdom and maybe some closing thoughts?
So again, thank you, Brendon, for holding super dope virtual space. You always come up with the best ideas, and we get to connect, and I get to learn from other people doing the same things I'm doing. So my advice to you guys is to laugh. That is so freaking important as a parent, and that's the best advice I can give you, because there's so many moments where, like Leeza was saying, that you may get a little frustrated, or you may even be confused about what to do, because it's a learning journey. That's the second thing I would say. Remember that it is a learning process that will continue on until the day you leave here with your kids. Even as, you know, when they become parents, you're now a new grandparent, you know, and now you're learning how to do that. So take joy in the journey. Make sure you laugh. And if you are feeling sad and down, I swear to goodness, go play with your kids. Pick up the G.I. Joes, pick up the Barbie, pick up the Bubbles. You know, we built a pillow fort, and it was the whole living room, and we put lights in there and all types of stuff. And I felt like a child in that little tiny tent in those tunnels. My kids, you know, the snow. It's all the snow outside. They're throwing snow in the house too. So there's all these moments where just laugh, remember you're on a journey, and just love them. Love them as much as you can. Love them, hug them, and kiss them, and let them know, I don't care what's going on. I'm gonna be right here. And if you can, try your best not to judge them. And remember, we can only give them the guidance, but you want them to learn lessons. You want them to go through things so that they can build their character, so that they can become get onto their path. Don't, you know, I'm a helicopter parent in some ways. I'm not gonna lie. But I release them at a certain age when it's time. And in doing that, I've found wealth, where I allowed my kids to be kids when they were smaller and get a good amount of information in. And as they got older, more and more it was let in. And that's been a beautiful process. But also understanding that as I have teenagers, it's now time for them to make some mistakes of their own. And I won't know everything, and I don't need to, but I'll always be here when they need me, and I'll always be that ear and that shoulder and that hug. And that, you know, you can always call or come. They can always come to my house. So that's my final mommy message. And I love you, moms. And for all the pats on the back that you don't get, I'm giving you a million pats on the back. Remember, I love you, and job well done, ladies. And
Beautifully.
And Curtis.
And all the yeah, all the males and females, all of us together. So beautiful. Thank you, Zentia. Just who wants to go next? And I'll pass it over to you real quick, and then we'll Leeza, I'll pass it over to you. One thing I was going to say, and again, this is coming from experience of being the child to my parents and things like that, and I speak for in a broader context here, but just like as parents, as guardians, as those who hold space for the children, and Zentia was kind of saying this, but I really just want to be able to expand upon it. There is so much power in being able to be that person that they can come to be able to share their vulnerability without them feeling judged. Like, because that's the thing, like, like as kids, and even like that's the thing, not even just like kids, but like specifically as kids and as they grow up into young adults, there is something really, really powerful for a young adult who, is a child of this person or whoever, to be able to go to their parent and to be able to say like, hey, here's something I'm struggling with. And then for them to not be like judgeful, but to just to listen and to hold space and to hold us up to our highest good, and to really like, that is incredibly healing, and like seriously, that is something that I wish the entire world could go through. I wish the entire world, like literally, like the entire world, the people who are going through like the heaviest stuff, I feel a lot of us don't have this, but I feel like this is like the power of like this sacred feminine, who has this ability to be able to like, that we could like bring like our deepest traumas to, and to be able to share them, and to be able to speak them, and to be able to say, hey, this is what I'm working through, this is what I'm carrying, and stuff like that. And then for the mother to just like embrace them, and to just hold them, and to love them, and to help us go through a catharsis and a release, like that is so powerful and so needed, and like literally, like I literally feel like if there was like, you think of these like bigwig like people in like, moguls who are adults and stuff like that, they've probably done some like crazy stuff, like horrible sinful stuff and things like that. But if they had, like, imagine what it would feel like for them to like go to their mother or their mother's archetype, and to be able to say like, mom, like this is what I've done, like this is who I am, this is what I've gone through, this is what I've learned. And instead of your mom being like instead of that, but instead to just be able to be like, to listen, and to just hold them, and to embrace them, and to know that that embrace is actually what is needed for the healing, to be able to see them from like this like pure place of love, while still like continuing to like hold them up, to help them raise through whatever it is that they're working through, their traumas and their healing and things like that. Like that is the power of a parent. The power of a guardian will be one that will, again, like help the children go through their own challenges, and to be able to be there, both as a parent, both as a pillar, in some cases a friend, is so powerful. And again, something that I feel, if the whole world had that, I feel it would like heal in a week. Like I feel like there's trauma that we like carry inside of us, but we don't have that. Like we're like ashamed to tell our mother about it and things like that. Like there's people that will never tell their parents certain things because some parents will be like, oh, like they'll disown you and things like that. But imagine, if you were to tell them, and your mother's just like, oh, like let me hold you, let me nurture you, let me care for you, let me love you. And then through that love, without them having to tell you what to do, because like your internal guidance system you'll know what to do, but like that love will give you the permission to be able to move forward with that, and to be able to like release whatever it is that you need to release or something, So anyways, that's what I just wanted to be able to put that out. I'm maybe if anybody else wanted to just not that we have to get fully into that and stuff like that, but if that resonates with you guys, drop some 1111s. But yeah, the power of both the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine, the power of the sacred guardian, being able to like hold the young ones through their own trials and tribulations, and to not just hold them, but to be able to like hold them up and to help them through that catharsis and stuff like that. So opposed to feeling like they have to keep it all locked in until they're adults and stuff like that, because that's the thing, right? Like a lot of adults, like the trauma that they carry with them is actually like childhood trauma. Like it's actually like stuff that they've literally carried from childhood that they probably didn't get to talk about, and they never got to properly communicate it and stuff, right? So it's like maybe even as adults, like what if we were to actually like communicate to the kids, be like, hey, if there's anything you need to come to me with, like you can come to me from a place of non-judgment. I'm your parent, I'm your father, I'm your mother, I love you. You know, I know you're going to screw up, it's okay, but I love you anyways, and I'm here to help you learn and to help you grow, right? You know, what if that example was there, and how would that allow us to just be able to move through that process and to help us learn, to help us grow, and to help us heal, you know? Because we all carry this, we come into this life like with like generational trauma, but I think it takes a family to be able to heal it. We can't heal it alone. Like it literally takes the role of like both like the guardian and the youth to be able to heal it together, so we can hold space for each other. So let's keep things passing along. Leeza, I'll pass it over to you when you're ready. And again, let's just 15 minutes and then we'll close this off. So go ahead, Leeza, when you're ready.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because so I was thinking about the judgment and that a lot of people place on kids, and not just parents but teachers, and you know, we put a lot of kids in boxes of, you're a good kid, you're a bad kid, you're a this kid, you're a that kid. And I think one of the biggest things that we can do to start healing at those young ages is to take away those boxes, and to, you know, even if you're saying, oh, well, she's such a good kid, he's such a good kid, that still has that trauma. That's still, that even like, I have to be a good kid, I can't do anything bad, or I don't want to be a good kid because I'm looked at this way. And I think something in my experience that I've been doing with the kids that I work with is, you know, if I'm working with a bad kid, I treat them the same as I would treat any other kid. And I hold, you know, you hold space for them, and don't treat them with the prejudice that was built in. And if you do, just recognize it and keep going. And I think that's what kids need, is that support. And like when Brendon, when you asked that question, what do these kids need? The first thing was love and support, and respect, and just, and Amanda was saying, like, treating them as a sort of equal, as people, not just as, oh, you're kids, oh, you're so cute, but like, they're people, they're little humans, like that's that's what they are. So I mean, that's my 2 cents on that fact. But no, support, love, and respect.
Beautiful. Thank you, Leeza. Who wants to go next? I'll pass over to you, and I just want to be able to share one quick thing where, again, you know, I think as adults, we need to be able to be intelligent, to be able to empathetically read our children, to be able to understand what they're communicating, even if they're not verbally communicating it, right? So like oftentimes, like that'll be the thing, like the kid, the child doesn't have like the maturity to be able to always communicate what it is that they're feeling. And then oftentimes, for example, this will show up in a kid where they end up getting kind of like bullyish or standoffish or something like this. I saw this a lot at camps where there would be like, you know, everybody else would be having fun, and then there would be like one kid that was just kind of a jerk. Like it was kind of like, he was kind of like a bit of a, you know, kind of a mean kid. But then when I always saw those kids, and instead of just being like, oh, that kid's a jerk, like, screw that, I don't want to hang around him. Like, that was the kid that I would give the most attention to and say, like, you know, like, what's up with that kid, right? Like, there's probably something else that's going on. There's probably, like, that kid's like, I don't know, I don't need to know, but there's probably something going on at home, something like that, who knows, or whatever. But, you know, just here in this moment, I'm just going to give him attention, and I'm going to ask him what he's passionate about, and I'm going to help take his mind off things, and I'm going to talk to him about geeky stuff and Star Wars and nerdy things, and just find a way to be able to meet them on a level where they feel comfortable and they feel safe and they don't feel judged. And then when you do that, you know, literally within like 5-10 minutes, suddenly this kid just kind of like shifts, and suddenly they're not a jerk, because the kid wasn't a jerk to begin with. The kid was just carrying with them some sort of like emotional like energy that was expressing itself through jerk-like behavior. So I think, again, you know, as parents, it's like when we see these children and they're acting out, and they're acting out in frustration and things like that, to always just be like very gentle and curious. And, you know, sometimes it can be explicitly asking them, or again, just kind of like helping redirect that energy as well. It's kind of like, it's almost like a, you know, it's kind of like an animal, where sometimes like they'll do things, you won't know what they need, but it's like, do you need out? Like, do you like what do you need right now? It's like they won't tell you, but we have to be able to interpret it. So I think again, that's where, like, as guardians, we can get good at that. We can actually get good at being able to, see it through that lens in the same way that you could see it with an adult, right? Like hurt people type thing. So if you see a kid that's like acting out as a bully, like that kid's hurting. And so how can we as an adult maybe give that kid a little bit of, extra support to just help them feel safe and see what happens. I've done that plenty of times where at camps where the kid who, like I said, would like be like very standoffish, by the end of it he was having a blast. He loved being there, and they're a joy to be around. I don't think any kid is like a jerk by default. I think every kid is like a super beautiful, loving being, and so if we can just help hold space for that, it changes them, and then they can, because again, and then they can start changing their own self-image. I feel sorry for the kids who kind of like fall into this identity of almost like identifying as the bully or identifying as the mean kid or something like that, because other people have told them that, oh, you're a jerk, you're a mean kid or something like that. It's just like, no, man, you're working through things that we don't always see, and you're a child, but you're working through complex things, and it's up to us as humans to be able to just kind of like meet that kid on a very heart-centered level, to be able to help them go through a bit of a process to move that energy around, and just get them to be able to shift their focus. So does that resonate with you guys? Does that make sense? Again, this is like, I'm only talking from experience of, again, this is just from like camp counseling. That's literally what it is and stuff like that. So who wants to go next? Didn't see a hand up earlier. And if we're close to wrapping it up, that's really cool. Jennifer, I'll pass it over to you. Did anybody else want to be able to go after Jennifer, even if just closing gratitude? And I would encourage you guys to just be able to close off with any gratitude if we just do that before we wrap it up. So we'll pass over to Jennifer, and anybody else after that, go ahead when you're ready, Jennifer.
There is one thing that I was called to say, or I was thinking about, and my understanding of the divine feminine is my mother in a different sense, like on a spiritual level. I believe that in a different dimension or a different place, well, actually right here, but because I can hear her and I can communicate with her, and I feel the love that she has for me. And I think on a cosmic level, being able to meet my divine mother and to feel that energy of unconditional love. I didn't have that growing up. I was judge. I could look in the mirror and it would be, we like ourselves, don't we? But my mother would never say that to me. She would tell me how beautiful I am and how, I'm shining. And that's what I made sure that I would do for my daughters, is the mother that I wanted for myself, and the mother that I've come to know spiritually is the mother that I want to be. And I think that goes for the divine masculine as well. The father figure that I saw when I was younger, I feel like on a different level, I was always afraid of Heavenly Father, because he was very vengeful, and like, if you read the Old Testament, I'm not going to get into all that, but it's just, I was fearful, and I was fearful of my own father, but I saw other people's fathers, and they were so loving and kind, and I've grown to know that as well, on a different level, on a grander scale, and that channeling that love and that unconditional love is really what we should tap into, is not our parents here, because I just believe that there's so much more to us and so much more to our existence than that. And if we could love like them and be able to come to them and with every darkest secret that there is, and they'll still be like, I love you. You're made that way, and you're growing, and you're perfect, and you're just where you need to be exactly right now. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm grateful for my divine parents.
It's so powerful. I love that perspective. Yeah, like all of us here being able to understand that like we ourselves are still children of these like divine archetypes, so to speak. We were born into it, and yeah, that's something that we can still connect with. And yeah, again, it's just kind of like you don't expect the children to be able to have that spiritual maturity at such a young age, but as adults we kind of talk about this. We talk about it in the podcast, where it's this idea that it's like like the shadow and the trauma that you carry with you into this life, because you are strong enough to be able to transform it, because you are strong enough to be able to heal it. And again, I think for the children at that age, they don't see it quite from that perspective. They aren't quite at that point where they understand that, quote unquote, everything happens for a reason. Everything's happening for you, not just to you, type thing. But maybe they can, and what happens if they do, and how that would actually change their perspective, So I feel like, those little spiritual wisdoms that we eventually evolve into, like, what if, that's the thing, right? Like, man, like imagine if the children start becoming aware of synchronicities and sacred geometry and law of correspondence and vibrations and the power to transform with intentions. And see Zentia, I know Zentia is like already teaching them about this and everything like that, which is awesome, right? And literally to be able to see these experiences that they go through that are challenging, and to be able to get curious about them and be like, how is this helping me grow? How am I learning from this? How is my soul evolving from this, right? So that's where I think when you do this, it creates this opportunity for the children to really be able to mature in a very powerful way, while at the same time still celebrating, what it means to be a child at the same time, right? There's sometimes a lot of children will actually mature very fast. But I feel like when we create that balance where it's still encouraging them to be able to, mature perhaps in a mindset, but while still being able to embody that playful spirit. And then again, even as adults, I've talked about this before, but it's basically this idea that we grow old in order to learn how to live young, so to speak. So it's like what is the ideal path, right? If we were to create like some sort of utopian vision, I feel it would be something where like these children, and again, maturity is something that comes through experience, and you don't rush that. Like the maturity will come as a result of whatever is meant to come to you. You don't force maturity on people, but the children can be wise. The children can still be wise at a young age, and that wisdom comes through simply perhaps even presenting them with ideas, asking them questions, and then allowing them to be able to tap into this intuitive knowing that we tap into as adults, where again, a lot of this stuff related to synchronicities and how the universe works on a metaphysical level. I think a lot of us, we talk about this idea that it's like, oh, it's not something we're learning, it's something we're remembering. So if that's the case, then the children can remember that, right? So if we can gently kind of lead them into this remembrance at a young age, can that equip them with kind of like this spiritual utility belt to be able to see things through those perspectives that will empower them? And that is ultimately the goal, right? It's not to force them to grow up quicker, but it's to empower them on their journey and to cultivate even that mindfulness and to give them those skill sets, right? And I know we're seeing that, and that's where again, shout out to Ava and to Becca and to all the other people who are teaching their children meditation and giving them that ability to be able to get familiar with correlating their rhythms and their breath and to just give them that sovereignty at a young age. It's incredibly powerful. It really, like, that gives me hope. It really, really does. And to know that there are people like us out there who are helping foster that is just so meaningful. So shout out to everybody here. You guys are all doing a great job. Proud of you. Okay. All right. Let's get close to wrapping this up. Zentia, I don't know if you want to, you can jump back in because I know you're like, you teach your kids about like synchronicity and stuff like that. So who else wants to jump in though, just before we wrap it up, just with like even just gratitude and like last call, we'll pass it around. Maureen and okay, Carley, you're okay. If you want to jump in, feel free to let us know. That's cool. Okay. All right. And okay. All right. Okay. So we'll pass it over to Zentia. Did you want to jump in? Just kind of just hit upon that note of like, like when you teach, like you're teaching your kids like about kind of like some wise spiritual stuff. Like what I'm genuinely curious. Like what's their reaction to it? They're just like, this is like mom's like crazy spiritual talk, or they're like, or are they just like, they're like, oh, like I see this not because mom told me that it is what it is, but they're actually seeing it like through their own perspective, or they remember it? I'm curious.
Well, I want to be honest. They remember sometimes, and other times they like forget. But what I try to do is I make it real for them. So I'll give you an example. Today, my son threw a tantrum. He rolled his eyes at me. He stomped his feet, and he's 7. He threw a whole tantrum. So while he was sitting in timeout, I looked at him and I said, you know, you're looking at me and you're upset, but I did not put you here. This was a decision that you made. This was a choice. You could have chosen at any time to do something different. So I'm always drilling into my kid's head, actions equal results, universal law, cause equals effect. So I said, every time you give an energy out, you're getting it back. I said, you know what you gave me? You gave me disrespectful, upset energy. And this is how you're feeling, upset. You're feeling disrespected. And that's what you gave me. So that's what you got back. And you can't escape that. So he just stared at me and he got it. And he was like, man, he didn't want to get it. But at 7, he got it. He was like, man, that's what happened. So, okay, I'm just going to sit in my timeout. You know, so in philosophy, they come back with more questions. I use an app actually that goes down a full list of different philosophical questions, and they love it. They love brain games. So I say teach them. They understand. We went over synchronicities actually yesterday in Dharma, and how you can transition, and how you know that synchronicities are entering your life. When you see repeating numbers, when you see repeating symbols, when you have a reoccurring dream. So they get it. Teach them. And like I said, even if it doesn't go into their conscious forefront, it goes into their subconscious. And when it's relevant, they'll pull it out and then they'll use it, or they'll go, that's what mom was talking about. My daughter says it. She'll be 14 this year, and she goes, you're right. I don't want you to be, but you're right. And I say it to her. She does it to me, and I'll be like, fine, Kylie. Yeah. But yeah, so I just, again, encourage you to teach them, even if it feels like they won't get it, because we've got all these adults paying thousands of dollars or just searching for people like us to come teach them. We're the people. Like, so let's, Brendon, like, come on, imagine your kid. Come on now. Like, all the things you have to give them. We're creating the next generation here, and we can already tell they're a little more rowdy than we are. They're more tech savvy, and they've got more resources than we are. Imagine a next wave of TikTok with our children and what we've given them and what that looks like.
Pretty epic. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I love that. And again, just kind of in the concepts of, for those of us who are in positions to be able to be role models for kids, like, absolutely, again, like, do things that spark their imagination, that spark their curiosity, that spark their creativity. Like, I think that's important, right? I think a lot of times now it can be very challenging for parents, especially with the circumstances in the world right now, where I think in a lot of cases, like, a lot of kids are just being put in front of a TV, and that's where most of their time is spent. And I'm not saying that in a way to be able to, like, no shame to the parents, because there's going to be different circumstances that, as a result of that. But I think, as parents, as guardians, it's just like, we know that we don't want them to spend all their time in front of a TV. No, absolutely not. We want them to be outside. We want them to be socializing. We want them to be playing and to make friends and to get dirty and to bubble up and, and to be able to get out there and to have some fun. And again, I think it's powerful for us to be able to practice flexing our own creativity, to be able to find circumstances where we can practice flexing their creativity as well, right? So this is, again, going back to my experience playing with Lacey's boy, and even just like little things like playing on the ground and playing with like toys, right? And just like making realities just with like the toys that you're doing. You're flexing your imagination. They have these beautiful infinite imaginations, right? And I think that's the thing, we as guardians, we can nurture that, we can keep it flexed like a muscle, because that's the thing, right? Like, it's like they will become a result of their environment. And so if they are in an environment where that muscle doesn't get exercised, then it will atrophy. It will kind of like slowly become something that they don't really use quite in the same way. So it's like that in itself, you know, in addition to, you know, feeding them and exercising them physically and everything like that, like exercise their mind, exercise their imagination, exercise their creativity, and to really just be able to celebrate that and to meet them in that space where you're actually flexing your creativity as well. So yeah, again, I feel kids do carry with them this like this epic potential, and just knowing that it's there gives us a little bit of just like direction on, you know, how do we create the space to be able to help foster that, and through games and through play and through questions and curiosity and through example as well, right? So okay, team, we're almost done here. Again, I know this is a discussion that we could go a little bit longer on, but we're gonna keep things wrapped up in the next little bit. So who else? Jennifer, who had their hand up before? Who wanted to just, Becca. Okay, Becca wanted to be able to share. Was there anybody else who just, so this is just closing after Becca then, if Carley. Okay, so after Becca, then Carley, and then if anybody else did want to jump in, let me know. But other than that, we'll just move into a short little meditation, and then we'll wrap it up. So Becca, when you're ready, any closing additional thoughts and anything else you'd like to share, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for this space and this discussion, because it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm so glad that there's more than just me that realizes that there's things that's missing for these future generations, and that we can, as a community, bring that all back together. I'm going to say on behalf of Ava that I'm grateful for all of you, because you're making her into such a strong, well, she was strong before, but she's even stronger now with all of us behind her. And it's given me more confidence as a mom as well, and as an individual, to grow all of our lives together. And you're right, Brendon, that they're so intelligent, like the things that they come out with. Me and Ava, we've been practicing eye gazing, and she said, I asked her, what does it feel like for you? And she said, it feels like a banjo string from my heart to yours. I mean, what? I do poetry, and I wouldn't have even come up with anything that good. So yeah, just great. So much thanks. If there was a bigger word for it, I would use it, but I don't have one. Thank you.
Oh, thank you as well, Becca, and thank you as well, Ava. So awesome. All right, okay, we'll keep passing things around here. Carley, I'll pass it over to you when you're ready. Go right ahead.
Yeah, so much gratitude for everything everybody said. All of the moms that have shared, and all of the caretakers, and you know, I think it's always good to get you know, people who aren't yet parents' perspectives too. So I think everything everyone said was just like resonated. Good reminders. When Jessica said about, you know, how hard parenting can be, that, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, I was just bawling. Like, I was like, yes, like, it's so hard some days to do the right thing. And even when, especially when you're on the spiritual journey and you know how your parents, you know, didn't always do the right thing, and how that still affects you as an adult, to look at myself really, you know, really right in the eye and just go like, have I always done the right thing? No, but that does lend me well to give my child space to open up to me no matter what he does, and recognize that none of us are perfect, and just try to be a little better every day. And he, as soon as I started crying, he came in here, like every time, even if it's just like a couple tears, he knows, like, we're so connected. And I'm really excited to be a part of this community too, and to keep growing as an individual, as a parent, to have you guys to lean on when days are rough, and to just know, like, you know, we don't always have to be perfect, but as long as we're trying to be a little better every day, like, that's what counts. And yeah, totally, just everything everyone said was just like right in my heart. Like, I love you all so much, and I needed this. I didn't think I was going to be able to stay for the whole thing. My son has been so good, just like playing and being goofball. And normally he's a night owl. Like, I want to say he goes to bed at a normal, reasonable hour for a 2-year-old, but he doesn't. He will stay up way later than I would ever. Like, so we try to just calm things down, and you know, it's a learning process. But like I said, just getting better every day. So I just want to thank you all for it. This was a great chat. This was so powerful for me. And I just love you all so much. What a beautiful community we share. Thank you.
Thank you, Carley. Absolutely, yeah. Just feeling so much love for everybody here, and so grateful just to be able to hang out with everyone. And again, who else just wanted to? Maureen, did you? Who else wanted to just be able to? Jessica. Okay, all right. And then after that, we'll just close it off. One other just very, very powerful idea that I just want to be able to share with, and I think it's like fitting to just get close to the end of it. I feel like there's a quote here, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know what the idea is. And basically the idea is that we do not, how do I say this properly? We do not own our children. Like, they are their own beings. You know, like I think, again, as parents, and again, obviously I'm not a parent, so I can't specifically talk from that. I'm not biologically, I don't have a child yet. But the idea being, you know, like a lot of people, they kind of get into this idea where, you know, they create this like attachment to their child, and naturally so, right? But I think a part of that journey as a parent is to really be able to see it from that perspective of like, oh my goodness, like, yes, I birthed this child into this world, absolutely, I am their mother, so to speak, you know, or their father, but I do not own them. Like, they are their own sovereign being. Like, that's a huge thing, because then again, at that point, like, you are an ambassador, like, you are in service, you are helping them mature into the being that they're here to be. And it's beautiful to be able to see things from this perspective. And I'm sure for a lot of the parents in here, you can see this. And even for those of you who aren't parents, you know, just anybody, to be able to like kind of perceive things from this like reverse time theory perspective, where you look at the young humans when they're children, but you can literally see it, like, just, you know, imagine flash forwarding through the future, and you see them become a young woman, a young man, an adult. Like, they already are that. They're just in a small version of that. Like, it's weird. It's almost as if, like, you know, like, as a soul, like, that version of who we become as an adult, like, that's what we kind of like engineer our blueprint around. You know, like, that's like who we are here to be. And then who we are as children is just like the prototype version of that. It's just the small version of that, you know? So it's literally this idea that through the eyes of a guardian, as a parent, to literally be able to say, like, it's just like, oh, like, this person is, yes, my child, but like, they literally are their own soul who's here on their own journey. And I'm here to be able to help assist them in becoming who they are here to be. Not who I tell them to be, not who I may want them to be. Absolutely, I want them to be a good person, but to just be able to kind of like hold them up without holding on to them forever. You do want to hold them, like, absolutely, you do want to hold them, but to just, you know, that's being a parent is the ultimate lesson in non-attachment, I think, in a lot of ways, and you want that, you know, you want them to be able to leave the nest, to spread their wings, and to live their own life. And I think, you know, as a speaking on behalf of my own parents, you know, I know for them to be able to like see me grow into a man, and to now be at a point where I'm kind of like stepping into my own family and everything like that, for them to just be like, whoa, like, this is everything that we would have hoped for. This is all we wanted. This is all we wanted, you know, like, and you know, I even still, like, I think of back to the movie Soul, and there's kind of like that scene with the mother, and I'm not going to get into spoilers, but it's basically this idea of like the mother kind of like from a place of love, but almost kind of like an unconscious attachment, where the mother's just like, they're like, this is what you need to do, this is what is expected of you. But what they weren't saying is, because I love you and I want you to be well off and I want you to be taken care of and things like that. But at the same time, you know, the parent has to be able to really be able to like honor the calling of their child's soul and to know that, you know, like it may not necessarily be what they want. And I know, like, even for my own mom, there were times where, like, even with me working on paradigm shift, where, you know, like it was challenging. It wasn't something earlier on where like I had figured out how to do it as a job, do it as a living. And she's like, you can't do this as a living. Like, you know, like you can't, like, this isn't working, Brendon. Like, we've tried this before. It's not working. And I would freaking cry about it. And this is like me, like I would get into like arguments with her. I'd be like, no, like, mom, like, seriously, like, this is my soul calling. Like you can't tell me not to do this. Like, I'm telling you, like, it will work. Like, that was me speaking from a place of like seeing the future already. Like, it will work. I just have to persevere. I just have to like keep going and things like that. And, you know, and it was never that she never wanted me to not, you know, she didn't want me not to do it. But from her perspective, she just like, I want you to be taken care of. I want you to be secure and safe, you know, and continue to, you know, and again, that's probably projecting from a past version of what was expected for her. And, you know, a lot of people come from a generation before that. But again, you know, for parents to be able to for guardians and parents to be able to kind of like hold their children in a way where it's like, I honor the soul that you are, and I honor the journey that you are on, and I honor the fact that I am here to walk beside you, but I am not here to walk it for you. And as you raise into your own maturity and your own adult years, you will make your choices, and they will not be my choices, and you will be your own adult and your own being, and eventually you someday perhaps will raise your own family and things like that. So from seed to seed is a very, very powerful axiom that I like to be able to share, that really reflects not just I use that from seed to seed, for me, reflects on the concept of like from teacher to student to teacher, from guardian to guardian, from seed to seed, from seed that becomes a tree that bears a seed that becomes a tree, from seed to seed. It reflects the entire picture. And I think, again, you know, like, that is the role of raising children, is to be able to continue this ongoing infinite cycle that we are just a blip of, a little small instance within, and to really be able to honor them as the souls that they are, and to allow it to humble us, and to allow it to empower us, and to allow it to become who we are here to be. And it's just such a magical journey to be able to, you know, walk this path alongside them. So whew, how's everybody's heart feeling? You guys feel that? Okay, Jessica, I'll pass it over to you, and if anybody did have just like any super closing thing that they just really feel called to share, then we'll make time for that, and then we'll just finish it off. So Jessica, if you're ready, go right ahead.
I love that sentiment, because I think that's kind of what I was thinking to share, is kind of that idea of the connection with your kids, to the connection of yourself, to the connection of your parents. And in trying to hold your kids up, you have to go to that space of recognizing yourself and doing that work on yourself, and recognizing you're doing the best that you can. And through the work I've done with myself, I can see, you know, my parents have made mistakes, and parents make so many mistakes in different degrees, but there's, to some level, they were doing the best that they could do. And in coming to terms with that gave me more space to then be there for my kid and allow, you know, them to be who they need to be. And hopefully they will recognize that little bit of growth within myself, so that when they get to their point where their seed is going on, you know, it's just a little bit bigger, they can offer a little bit more space for their children to be who they need to be. And it just kind of connects back to that holding space. And so I really liked that, seed to seed. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you as well, Jessica. So okay, team, anybody else, just even if it's just closing gratitude, you guys are more than welcome. Just be able to pour your hearts out real quick, and then we'll wrap it up here. So anybody else just want to? Maureen, yeah, we'll pass it over to you when you're ready. Maureen, go ahead. We didn't officially hear from Baby Yoda today, so thank you, Baby Yoda, for joining us. He was speaking through us, I think. So
I think he was. First of all, lots of gratitude for this group. Definitely, I've learned a lot and have grown a lot with all of you, and I appreciate definitely on the hard days. You guys really keep me grounded, keep me clear-headed. We've touched on this a bit, but I feel like it needs to be retouched. Our trauma and how we perceived it and how we are now trying to not repeat those mistakes with our children. That means that there is still a trauma there that needs to be healed. If you are not okay with repeating the same mistakes your parents made, that they are still hurting you because you may make those mistakes. It's okay to see that future and to see, like, oh, I don't want to go down that path. But you also need to acknowledge that it is okay if you did, because they are a part of you. And at some point, we identify with them. And if we can let that go, we heal better. So that was all I wanted to touch on for healing that part of the trauma. Because if we can't heal that trauma, even if like we move on, it can be passed on with our energy. Okay, that's all I was thinking. Because I know my parents had some traumatic styles, and I recently got over the fact that I did not want to raise my daughter anything like them, like to the point where I'm in this extreme setting and style of life. And I realized I was like, wow, I'm taking it to the other extreme, trying to be nothing like them. And that's not okay either. So I just wanted to mention that because I grew out of that like literally a couple days ago. So
it's very, very powerful. Thank you, Maureen. Absolutely. So yeah, no, as gentle as we are with the children, you know, it's important to still be gentle with ourselves, and that's, I think that's how we learn. Not by trying to like resist the idea of screwing up, but just be able to show up with an honest intention, to show up with our heart, and to
a full cup.
Full cup. Yeah, yeah. And to really be able to just continue to learn alongside each other. And wow, like the idea of being able to have a child that sees that and that honors that as well. Like, oh my goodness, like that's probably everything a parent or a guardian would want, to be able to make a mistake around their child, and then the child be like, it's okay, mommy, like it's okay, daddy, like you're human, we're human, we make mistakes, we learn, we grow, right? So yeah, no, it's so powerful, right? Like again, here we are, it's just like here's how you should treat a child, but then it's like everything that we're saying about how we should treat a child, that's how we should be treating ourselves. You know, it's like incredibly like gentle and nurturing and present and everything like that, right? So and again, just finishing off here, I think as guardians, as parents, I think really just being able to celebrate the children is so valuable. Celebrate the little things, like celebrate the little pictures that they draw, celebrate the little ideas that they come up with, you know, like really like find their passions, meet them in those spaces, and yeah, and just find something to be able to celebrate each and every single day. And then again, you know, I think like that will be something that they'll like naturally pass on into their relationships as well. And to know that, again, you know, like the relationship that we nurture between us and them naturally becomes a relationship that they will nurture between other people, between their relationships, between their friendships as they grow up and everything like that. So it's a ripple effect, you know, like how we nurture the child will ripple out into their, you know, into their youth, into their adult years, into their relationships. And again, I think through healing ourselves, we allow ourselves to show up for our children, and through healing the children, we literally like heal the future, like literally heal the future, right? So it's like the world may be a crazy place right now, and honestly, like raising children is like one of the most important things to do right now. And you know, control what you can, accept the things that you can't, and to really just be focused on where, you know, where that energy really matters most, and be it with those relationships that we're fostering with our kids. And again, even in today's day and age, I saw some people, they were kind of, you know, right now raising children right now, very stressful for the kids. Like my heart aches for what it is that the kids are going through. And I saw a few different perspectives, and I'm not going to get fully into this because this is a topic for another time. But even still, you know, like within the state of the world that we are in right now, with this upside down, topsy-turvy world, even still, this is a great opportunity to perhaps teach them about resilience and about gratitude and about presence, and to know that this too will not last forever. Things will change, and I hope that out of this, through our leadership, that you know, the children will come out of this, and it will help them be able to like really appreciate the world in a new way. And to know that like, yeah, like there's gonna be a lot of work ahead of us right now. There's gonna, and again, I'm not trying to get into this because it's almost like it's a bit heavy, but there's gonna be a lot of kids right now who are gonna have a lot of trauma to unpack because of what's happening right now. And so that's where, again, like as adults, it's important for us to recognize that. It's important for us to listen, to really be able to listen to what the kids are going through right now. Like, and I'm literally talking about with like pandemic stuff and everything. Like listen to them, listen to what they're feeling right now. Like, don't dismiss it. Don't tell them how to feel. Listen to how they're feeling. And again, you know, out of that, like it's important for both of us to just be able to like build resilience. And this is where, you know, mindfulness practices, getting out, being creative, flexing your imagination, all of these little things. And yeah, no, this is a powerful time to be a parent raising a child, and my heart just, you know, goes to each and every single one of us who are doing our best. And that's all you need to do. It's all you really need to do. And I see that, and I honor the fact that each and every single one of us is doing our best, and you know, the world is a better place because of it. So raising children, what a beautiful, magical, incredibly amazing opportunity and gift for each and every single one of us, and for those of us still stepping into that path. And you know, again, I hope for the people listening to this, I'm sure there are some people listening to this who aren't at that point where they're, you know, like mentoring they're not like parents themselves. But again, there's always the opportunity to mentor. You're always going to have maybe a niece or a nephew and things like that. Like and even if it's not every single relationship is an opportunity to be able to really be present with how you're showing up, and just show up with as much heartfelt intention as possible. And we hope that this discussion nurtures your heart and fills your spirit, and motivates you to continue to choose to be the change that you wish to see in the world, and to nurture that change within the generations that are behind us, and that will help create that future together. And we're creating it together with them. So beautiful. Last call. Did anybody really want to just be able to share anything real quick? Carley, yeah, your hand was up. Go ahead, Carley, real quick, or as much time as you need. Yeah,
no, quick.
Carley, your mic's kind of a little wonky right now. You could probably just, I don't know if, I'm not sure if you need to I don't know if you want to unplug it, because he's sleeping right now, obviously. Yeah, you can just, oh, that's a little, no, can you unplug whatever you're plugged in? Like, I think it's still picking up through your headphone thing. It might be okay now. Just try now.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's fine now. Go ahead. Yeah, that's okay.
So the quote that you were referring to, I've got The Prophet by Khalil Gibran.
Yes.
Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you.
Mm-hmm.
You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. That's all.
Beautiful. I'm glad we were able to find that. That's it. That's exactly what I was referring to. So that's beautiful. And yeah, again, you know, what an epic story to be able to just think that each and every single one of us, like, you know, from that perspective, it's like, oh, we chose to come here at this time to be, you know, indigo, crystal, rainbow, you know, ambassadors, guardians, or whatever it is, like guardians. And then it's like equally as much, it's like our children came to be here with us at this time. Specifically, like, if you choose to be able to see that perspective, and wow, such brave souls they are. Like, straight up, like, so much gratitude and love, like, for the children, for the souls of the children who are coming in here at this moment, because, like, we need you more than we know. You know, like you are helping us more than we know. So yeah, we may be the guardians and the parents and the mentors and everything like that, but like you are helping us so much. So, you know, for each and every single one of you, to all the little ones who are becoming big ones, thank you. We see you and we love you, and we're better because of you. So all right, team. Like I said, there's obviously more to be able to talk about, but we're going to wrap this up and we're going to conclude this episode of the podcast. But we'll be back here for plenty more. And it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. My heart feels so open, and I feel inspired to just continue to show up each and every single day. And I'm so grateful that we have this beautiful community to be able to do it together as a team. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, the links for the people featured on this week's podcast are in the show notes on YouTube. So if you're watching live right now, go ahead, refresh that page. You can find the links in the information down below. And again, if you're looking to connect further, we have our team Discord. You can follow the link there. And we have our team meditations Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tune in with your kids if you want, you know. And yeah, we might even have some of the kids even leading some of those meditations in the future. Shout out to you, Ava. That's an opportunity when you're ready. The invitation is there. We'd be more than happy to be able to have you on. It's all just practice, after all. It's all just practice. And yes, thank you again to our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy this podcast and you're looking to be able to help support further, definitely feel free to check out the Patreon. Think of it as like an energetic vote for what you want to see more of within the universe. And when you join at the $11 level, that's where you can join as a leading member. And that's where you get full access to the Discord, the ability to join on air for these weekly podcasts, plus lots more to be able to help support you and help you get connected with the rest of the beautiful community that we have here. And be sure to check out Spotify, Paradigm Shift Radio, and the item shops there if you want to get some Light Guardian crystals. The kids love the Light Guardian crystals, I will say. Like a lot of the parents, they buy them and the kids are like, oh, these are like magic crystals, right? So if you're getting a Light Guardian crystal, maybe get one for your kid or something like that. Like seriously, they love them. And yeah, I'm so grateful to have each and every single one of you joining us in. And again, we'll be back here Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another episode. And please feel free to share it with your friends. After this, go ahead, leave a comment in the Discord. We'll wrap this up here. Somebody else is leading team meditation. Carley, are you leading team meditation tomorrow? I think you and Amanda might be leading team meditation tomorrow. Yeah, thumbs up there. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for holding space for myself and for the rest of the community. And I'm so in love with each and every single one of you, and I'm so excited for what it is that we're creating together. And yeah, we're doing it as a team. So we're doing it as a village, and what a beautiful village that we have here, and what a beautiful example that we get to be able to help create for the rest of the world. So beautiful. All right, let me just take a moment here. We'll just finish it off with a little bit of a meditation. I almost ended the broadcast right there. I was like, oh, we didn't do a meditation. Super short meditation, super short. We're a little tired. Everyone just go ahead, just close your eyes real quick. Get nice and comfortable. Really quick. Put your hands on your heart if you feel calm. When you're ready, with your eyes closed, gently begin connecting with your breath. Soft, gentle inhales. And soft, gentle exhales. Just go ahead and gently straighten up your posture. Open up your chest, relax your face. Bringing us back to this space of all of us just sitting in this beautiful circle. You can imagine us sitting there, some of the children joining us in the circle. Maybe they're sitting on their parents' lap or their guardian's lap. Some of them maturing into their own young adult versions of themselves, sitting there. And just taking this opportunity to really just honor each and every single one of us as equals, as teachers, as students, learning and loving, growing together. Just allow yourself to be able to express gratitude from your heart to every single person here, and just imagine any additional like beautiful energy moving between us, just kind of like swirling through the air. Just feel it continuing to open up your heart even more. So just take a moment here, just in your own moment of oneness, in your own moment of silence, as you just feel this love, feel this gratitude, and feel this beautiful future that we are anchoring in together. Continuing to breathe here. Take a moment express any specific phrase of gratitude to everyone here, something in theme with today's message. From seed to seed. You can imagine all of us just gently standing up and sharing in a big group hug if you wish. You can give yourself a nice big hug right now, hugging yourself, hugging your own inner child, thanking yourself, thanking the community, just feeling this beautiful love, feeling this beautiful family that we are building here together. Just breathe in this space. Just take another moment. And gently, if you want, you can gently release your arms, and we'll just do a couple inhale, exhales with a bit of a sigh. Deep inhale together. Exhale, a bit of a sigh. Do 2 more of those. Inhale. And 1 more if you wish. Inhale. Continuing to carry this beautiful love that we have cultivated here together as a community. Let it nurture us and inspire us on our ongoing journey to be able to help support and uplift one another. When you're ready, slowly you can bring your awareness back to your physical body. So you gently wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and open your eyes and return your awareness to the space around you. Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Absolutely wonderful to be able to just share this space, and yeah, feels so special. So beautiful. Well, I think everybody's gonna sleep well tonight. I send everybody so much love. I think we're all pretty tired. Rebecca, thank you for staying up until 4:30 in the morning, give or take. Hey, do what you gotta do, right? Beautiful. And yeah, the story continues through the love that we share. So to all the little ones and all the big little ones, to the child in all of us, to the parent and the guardian in all of us, I see you, I honor you, I love you, I thank you. So we'll finish it off. All the information and the links that you need are in the info for this video. Share your friends. If you guys want to screenshot this, post it to Instagram, let people know what it is that we got going on here. And yeah, we'll be back once again for more ongoing adventures of this shift in consciousness that we are living together. So with that said, we are concluding the broadcast here and inviting everybody to gently unmute their microphones and make some noise and send some love. And we'll say good night and until next time to every single beautiful person for joining us once again. So go ahead, say good night, everyone. We love you guys.
Good night. Love you all.
Thank you. Sleep well.
Thank everybody for the space.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. All right. Until next time, keep it shifty and welcome to the future. Much love. Special thank you to Danny Leonardo, whose music is featured at the beginning and end of this broadcast. Be sure to check out more of Danny's work in the YouTube info below. Thank you, Danny.